What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me on this panel, I've got Drew White for the first time, I think, this year so far.
Yep. Yeah. Hola.
So you're officially eligible for the end of the year award.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm about to pull a Dace. Just give me 10 minutes. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. Also, you heard him a second ago, Robert DeFelice.
What's up?
And to round out the panel, we've got Callum Wiggins.
Hands off my award, bitches.
So, let's preface this ahead of time before we even talk about anything. Audio settings got totally messed up on Skype for me and potentially other people as well. I don't know if that's going to be a revert back to what we've had in the past where the audio levels were all fucked up or something like that. So let me know throughout if you think that I need to adjust anything like that. I think I might have it back to normal. Let me know either way. But that's one thing. I hope it's not an issue. And you guys can hear us fine, because what we're going to be talking about is the mailbag questions for February, and February 2018 to be exact, if you can't read. If you can't read, it's a good thing that this is an audio podcast, not just a book, right? So, it's March 1st, technically, so Rabbit, which I think this might be the first mailbag that we've ever done where we've done it on technically the month following the actual month, which is kind of a little bit strange. We have a lot of questions to get to, more questions than we're actually going to talk about, because we had something about, I think the tally that I had originally come up with was like 110, and
holy shit.
Nah, we can't do that. That would take forever. So I merged some questions together a little bit, and I got rid of a lot of questions that dealt with WrestleMania or Fastlane or things that we had kind of talked about before. Or I know like Frankie didn't get a chance to get his questions in last month, and he had submitted those, and I backlogged them, and he resubmitted them with like some slight differences. So I kind of merged them together and stuff too. I wanted to make sure we got as many of Frankie's questions as we could to make up for last time around. We got a lot of people, a lot of questions to get to, so I'm going to stop rambling, and we can just get right into this. So, starting off with Ben W. First off, I have a question for Ben. What's your last name? I'm curious. Now you put Ben W. I'm assuming it's like...
Wah.
It's just W.
Wah.
Wishaw was the first thing that popped in my mind. Question number one. If you had to, gun to your head, decide who the biggest part of the women's evolution would be, who would it be? I thought of two answers. My first was Charlotte, because in my mind, I think that their love for her, and by proxy, of course, spawning from their love for Ric Flair, that's the reason why they decided to push everything, kind of, because they were like, we want to make her like the big woman star, and we can't do that without making the women's division better. I think that's the case at the very least. She's kind of been the headline. She's won the title more times than anybody else. She's held it longer than anybody else. And she did that at NXT, and she did it on Raw, and she's done it on SmackDown or whatever. The other person I would say is Triple H, because he's the guy who actually is pushing all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds kind of dumb to be like, Triple H is the best part of the women's evolution.
Triple H wants you to say that.
Maybe. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Who is the absolute, you have to pick, biggest, if most influential person in this whole thing?
Personally, it just depends on, do you think the revolution is still going on? Because if you think it's still going on, and if you give me like a month of you holding a gun to my head, I'll put money that Ronda Rousey will probably be the biggest person by the time it's all said and done.
I'm just imagining an entire month of somebody holding a gun to your head. Just going, you have an answer yet? All right, well, I'm not going to shoot yet, but fuck it.
Also, but I mean, if we're just talking about the initial revolution, and maybe if you want to consider Asuka in the mix as well, maybe Asuka, but definitely it's got to be Charlotte, and that's just because they pushed her as such. I know there's a long time ago where you might have heard me say mean things about Charlotte. Some of them still hold true. She's not as good of a wrestler as the other women, and I said mean things about her face. But I will say that
like the little quick aside, and I see it's mean things about her face. Anyway,
but I guess she's not as bad as what I thought she was. She's okay, I suppose. But it's kind of sad because this Revolution, they make it a huge deal, which is fine. I understand that. I'm cool with that. I'm glad that it's something. It just kind of sucks because they could have done so much more, and I feel like we could have got so much more out of this Revolution. And I think they could have done so. This could have been way better, and I think there could be more hype to it. But oh well, it is what it is.
Robert or Cal, any things to chime in?
I was waiting for Callum to go, but yeah.
I want
For
to
me,
go first.
It would be AJ Lee, and I don't know why we're even having this discussion. There would be no women's revolution without all the shit with AJ Lee. Yes, Charlotte coming in forced Triple H to make the women a big deal because we love Ric Flair, but AJ Lee is the catalyst for this whole thing, and she'll probably never get the credit she deserves, so I'm giving it to her here.
Stephanie McMahon.
Bullshit.
No, it's her. Not she's practically inventing women's wrestling. I don't know if you know, but women's wrestling didn't exist before Stephanie McMahon came around. It was all just a bunch of lingerie models that she was obviously booking beforehand because she was still the creative director. But never mind that, there's actual wrestlers now, and she's the person bringing them forward.
No,
think
her
about
husband is.
Yeah, I know, but think about all these big moments that have happened, like the calling up of the women from NXT onto Raw, or the announcement of the Royal Rumble. Stephanie's been at the heart of everything to do with that.
Golly, I wonder why.
Well, if you're looking at the person who's kind of pushing the evolution or is essentially being the figurehead of the entire women's evolution, you can't really decide anyone else besides Stephanie McMahon, whether she's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes or not. At least on face value, she's the one who's at the front of it.
Can I just say that listening to the podcast a lot, you guys seem to shit on Stephanie a lot more than I personally think. I don't hate her as much as I think you guys do.
I like Stephanie. I just don't like.
Yeah,
I just don't like that she's. Oh, look at me! I love the women. I did this. I'm the best. And then she's like, "Oh, but I'm still a bitch. You still gotta boo me because I'm still a cunt."
Yeah. I go along the lines thinking that I don't hate her as a person. Definitely, I think she's comes across as a very nice person. I don't hate her as a character either because she's so good at generating heel heat. The thing I dislike about her is the fact that she is running, well, essentially a major part of WWE creative at a time when creativity has been very stagnant. So I kind of look at that and see she's only in that position because her father's Vince McMahon, not that she's any good at her job. That's my criticism.
I just shit on anybody if I that week. If you want me to shit on you, I'll do it. Like,
yeah,
more than anything, I just kind of shit on the idea that she goes Monday night. Rah!
But I'm the person who will say that Stephanie and Brie Bella from SummerSlam in 2014, I'll say that match was actually a good match.
That was a fucking great match. That was fantastic.
I'm one of those people. I'm glad Robert agrees because I feel like people shit on that match too much. But
I honestly don't even remember for sure what I liked or disliked about it.
It's probably better that way. There's probably a lot that you can hate from it.
Yeah, especially if she said Monday Night Raw. Question number 2. Who do you think does more harm to the current roster, Randy Orton or John Cena? I don't think either.
Can I? Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback off that and say I thought this question was from like 2008 because this question doesn't apply in 2018. Neither one of them hurt the main roster now.
If you had to choose one though, definitely had to be Orton because there's a better chance that he shits in one's bag.
I'd say like out of the two, it's probably like neither of them are doing any significant harm to the business, but I'd probably go with Orton just due to the fact that he's kind of still feels like he's just in WWE, like he's got nowhere to go. Cena's got his out into Hollywood if he wants to go along those lines eventually. Orton's got nowhere to go, so he's going to be in WWE for as long as he wants to stay in WWE, and he's probably still going to be a big star as long as he wants to be in WWE. So maybe not now, but we could see him in his mid-40s, like early 50s or whatever, still in WWE, still being pushed.
Flair had some of his best matches in his late 50s, so you know.
If he's good, then that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine, but you know,
Orton's not Flair.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about how amazing those Orton matches in 2008 when he was 27.
Oh, let's see here. Question number 3. On a scale from 1 to 10, how surprised were you when you found out that WWE booked WrestleMania on Rusev Day? I mean, the fucking gall of them.
I know. It's like I was gonna have a nice Rusev Day, eat a Bulgarian dinner with my non-Bulgarian family, and here we go. We gotta watch a 24-hour WrestleMania on Rusev Day. Fuck.
Like, you already had Raw on Christmas.
Wrong
And
New Year's.
now, not only am I going to miss that Bulgarian dinner, I'm also not going to be able to do my traditional swatting at the bees with a flag. So
Have sex with my fake Russian wife.
I liked this question. I thought it was funny.
I give it a solid 4.
Last one from Ben. Are there any more first-time ever matches or feuds you'd like to see for the women's division going forward, or is WWE blowing the whole load, everything at once? I don't really think I care to see anything all that much anymore for the women's division all that much. Like, the Ronda Rousey stuff, like, obviously Ronda and the 4 Horsewomen against the 4 Horsewomen, Ronda versus Charlotte, that's something that's interesting, but I don't know if Ronda's good. Like, that's the big determining factor. She could be horrible. And if she really sucks, I don't want to see her wrestle anybody. But like Asuka versus anybody, Asuka versus Charlotte, maybe. I think Asuka's a little bit overrated in the ring. So I really don't care all that much. Like, there's no match right now that I'm like, oh man.
I'm waiting for
interested.
that Melina Alicia Fox
That
rematch. But for real, Sasha versus Ember is something I'd like to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's things I wouldn't mind seeing, but never like, oh crap, I can't wait for this. Like, Ember versus a lot of people, sure. Yeah, I mentioned the Asuka thing, and
Candice versus Sasha. Candice versus Bailey would be good too.
Candice versus Zelina.
Yeah, that's gonna happen, isn't it?
I think so. It should, at the very least. Or Zelina Vega versus almost anybody. Like, she's going to ring.
Candice versus Tommaso for the honor of her husband. Anyone? Huh?
Is there anything that stand out to you guys?
If there's one match that I'd want to see at the moment, it probably won't happen for a long time, but Asuka versus Kairi Sane. You have two of the biggest stars from women's wrestling in Japan fight each other. They're going to go at it really viciously. That's the sort of match, kind of like the equivalent that you'd see someone like a Samoa Joe versus Cesaro match, where they're just not going to hold anything back.
I want to throw one out there. I would not be upset if Trish came back, if that ever happened, based on her performance at the Rumble. She could essentially have a match with anyone, and I'd be happy because it'd be a first-time match. So I think that would be interesting if they ever did that Vicky. Going forward.
First time against Vicky.
First time against Vicky. Yeah, sure, why not?
Maybe I was thinking Nikki Cross versus Sasha Banks, which sounds a little bit odd, but out of all the women on the main roster around NXT, they seem like the two women that would just throw all caution to the wind.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Fall off something really tall.
Yeah, Sasha would get hurt as hell.
Yeah, and also one other one I was thinking, even though it was something that I had an idea of for quite a while, and it seems like it would take a lot of work and rehabilitation, but Bayley versus Stephanie McMahon. I always thought Bayley, as that underdog babyface, could be the person that eventually that Stephanie does put over, as opposed to a big UFC star, like someone who's actually on the roster that she would eventually put over. But it seems like that probably won't ever happen now.
On the lines of Stephanie, I'd be interested in the Stephanie and Charlotte feud, only if they brought Rick back and had him align with Stephanie and them after Charlotte bitch slapped him on TV and essentially made him cry. I think that'd be great.
A lot of Stephanie talk at the beginning of this. If we're front loaded with Stephanie, I'm kind of curious to see if she pops up at any moment.
Now I'm thinking
and not all of it was negative.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about dream matches for Steph. Stephanie versus Charlotte would be really good. I'd probably want to see Stephanie and Sasha the most. I feel like I'm blowing smoke up Sasha's ass, but I think Sasha's probably the best female they've got on the roster.
Everybody has their own fetishes. Let's pivot over to Frankie's questions here. As I mentioned before, Frankie, I tried to merge some of your old ones and some of your new ones together and stuff. So, do you think Elias can ever go up to the main event status?
I think he did on Sunday.
Technically, yeah. I don't think he's ever going to win a world title, though.
Absolutely not.
He might. I mean, like, he is fun and entertaining. I like Elias quite a bit, and I can see some potential there, but I don't think so. I think he's going to be that upper mid-card type of spot. Kind of like what The Miz is like. I think he's going to stay around there.
I will say, I'll give him props, though. When he first came onto the main roster, I don't think anyone was excited to see him. And the fact that he got where he... Well, you were... I recall a lot of people were very disdain with him at first.
I liked the Drifter thing from NXT, so it was just like, oh, the Drifter's there. He's just hanging out backstage. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, and I remember like the first month or two, they didn't really have any direction for him, and then he started doing the guitar thing as well. So I know why you laughed there, but I really think that someday, based on just his evolution of how well he's progressing, I think he might be stuck in his upper mid card role for a while. I definitely don't expect him to win a world title before he wins either the IC or the US title. But I would not be surprised if he went over the SmackDown at some point and won a title, the world title over there. And you never know. I think he'd be someone that they'd want to test out on SmackDown, or he'd hold the Money in the Bank briefcase and he could win it that way. So I think someday. I don't think it'd be anytime soon, though.
Oh, man. If he wins Money in the Bank, can it be a guitar case?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
I like that.
Nothing else. Well, I mean, Sandow had like a leather briefcase.
Yeah.
So get him like just a leather money and a.
I think I kind
case.
of want him to do that now. Even though I'm still hoping
case.
that it's Bobby Roode this year.
I mean, I like Elias as well, and I think he generates bigger reactions than some of the actual main event talent on WWE TV right now. But it's just the issue is that he generates all that reaction before the bell rings, and then during his matches, he's just not exciting enough. Like, you know, he's a heel, so he doesn't have to be the exciting, flashy guy. But even when he's doing anything, it just doesn't seem very interesting. And also, even though he has gotten a lot of wins lately, I don't really buy him as a threat. So you can't really buy him at a world championship level. You can't really see him going one-on-one in a straight match with like a Roman Reigns or John Cena and winning. So
At least not now.
John Cena, didn't he?
Yeah, but like obviously with like interference, and he pinned John Cena after Braun Strowman laid him out and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, like a one-on-one scenario, I still, even if he was to cheat, I couldn't see him beat Cena.
Question, blah, 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 whatever we're on. Does Seth Rollins need to go to SmackDown Live in order to revive his career?
This question was obviously sent in before.
Yeah. I still
Rollins
think he does,
push.
though.
I don't. I think Roman could benefit from SmackDown.
See, here's where I think that Rollins needs it. We know we're getting Lesnar versus Roman, and the only way that we're not getting Roman versus Lesnar is if either Roman Reigns goes down with some kind of steroid scandal thing, or if Brock Lesnar doesn't show up and he acts like a little fucking baby. In any of those scenarios, Braun Strowman steps in. It's Roman and Brock and Strowman that are headlining this whole Raw thing. Rollins isn't going to win that Universal title with those guys in the mix. And he's got, a boost and stuff like that. And I would say, like, maybe there's a chance that Roman drops it to Rollins down the line or something like that. But I don't think that that's going to happen, because I'm starting to think Bobby Lashley is going to beat Roman Reigns. And then that's a whole nother thing for months down the line. And in the meantime, Rollins is already in that mid-card spot. I think if he were to go on the SmackDown, he would be easily in that top tier.
I just got goosebumps thinking about Bobby Lesnar. Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lesnar. Well, he's like Bobby Lesnar after he leaves, but
Brock Lashley.
Brock Lashley. Oh gosh, imagining him as Universal Champion in like 2018 is fucking insane. I want to say about Seth Rollins, though, he is perfectly fine the way he is. I know Sean thinks he was a main eventer this whole time. He might be a rat. He might be an annoying 14-year-old teenager who listens to shitty punk music, but
burn it down, Dad.
Seth Rollins, he's fine. I think I think his performance over the past month, especially in the Chamber and in the Gauntlet match, I think it got people interested in it more in him again. But I think WWE has always looked at him as one of their big dogs. They've never once not look at him as such, in my opinion. Ever since he came back from the torn ACL, yeah, I think it's been a little stagnant for him. But I think they had to play it safe with him for a while, and I don't think they're. I think the past 2 years, he was just used as an enhancement talent, just because they didn't have any big plans for him, which is fine. That's what they did with someone like The Undertaker for years. He's just was there to be The Undertaker. Seth Rollins was just there to be Seth Rollins. But I will say he's doing better now that he's actually kind of might change his finisher. Who knows? I think that
He doesn't know what his finisher is.
I know it's like maybe if he actually changes it and doesn't do the pedigree anymore. If he goes back to the curb stomp, that'd be badass. I know he probably won't do that officially every single time.
You've not been watching recently.
Well, no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
meant like every single
Yeah.
time. I was about to say I meant like every single time. I doubt that it. To me, I think they might use that more like the punt with Orton, but I'm just curious what they do with Seth Rollins going forward.
I think they want him in the Bret Hart role because Bret, even though he had the sharpshooter, was always finding different ways to beat people, and that's what I'm seeing with Seth. He keeps using different maneuvers.
That's
I
what
got
wanted
it. I got the idea. How
Yep.
about this? He gets a DDT finisher.
to-
Ah.
No. Only if it's a variant of a DDT. It can't be a straight DDT. He has to like go from behind, or he has to like put the arms in a weird position.
He could lift
but-
him up
That weird
slightly.
one he was doing for like a week, where he just like hooked one arm and kind of fell forward like almost like a pedigree.
I remember when Dean Ambrose went through like 3 variations of his finisher in a span of like a month. It was
All
like
with
to watch.
Yeah, Dirty Deeds was definitely not the same that it was. They just kind of kept the name and just kind of went like, oh, you do this instead. Whatever.
They did that with the curb stomp too. One week it was the peace of mind. The next week it was the blackout. The next week it was just the curb stomp, and now it's the stomp.
Oh, they don't even call it the curb stomp? I didn't notice that.
It's the stomp.
Well, it's kind of like the Apollo Crews thing, you know. You don't want a curb be involved in the
You
stuff.
can't say curb. You can't say cruise.
Well, now we know what we need to do for WrestleMania's entrance. He needs to have Stomp come out and do his entrance. And they can just start banging on shit. Just do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. See, WWE, we got so many ideas.
You know what I will say would be a great thing for Rollins and Balor to do a loser leaves Raw match, because one of them needs to go to SmackDown,
Yeah,
and I think that's a cool way to do it.
I like that idea.
I was going to say, I'll sum up the idea. My thoughts on Rollins is that if he was to go on to SmackDown, he immediately propels himself into like a full main event star, someone who's going to be fighting for the title like 6 weeks out of 7, almost, or whatever, or 6 pay-per-views out of 7. He's going to be in the title picture. Whereas on Raw, it's more of a land of the giants, so he has to work harder to get into that role. But I also would have the caveat that I wouldn't wish SmackDown on my worst enemy at the moment, so I'd hope he stays on Raw.
Oh, well, we'll get Styles Rollins at the very least. I don't think Styles is going over to
that'd be
Raw.
a good time.
Something to think about. Okay, this one's I guess more for me than anybody else. Did you see the Celebrity Big Brother cat? It does not look enticing in my opinion. I'm assuming that was cast.
Yeah.
And I think the season's already done. Since that was an older one. So I really should have just probably double checked to see if
Tony, be more current, damn it.
Yeah, so I should have checked to see if his newer questions had something about that. I just kind of went through and whatever. But it's the same answer no matter what. I didn't see a single episode of Celebrity Big Brother.
Anyone watch Big Brother here or Celebrity Big Brother?
I watch. I've seen every single season of Big Brother except for season 6, I think, and the over the top one and the celebrity one. The reason I didn't watch the celebrity one was because when they announced the cast, I didn't give a shit about a single person. Like Shannon Elizabeth, yeah, she used to be really hot. She probably still is. Ross the intern, I don't care. Omarosa, who gives a shit?
Wasn't she working in the fucking White House? What is our country?
We have a dude who had his own reality show as the president himself. So, and it's horrible. So
As Callum sits back and laughs at us.
yeah, I didn't vote.
I'm in no position to like laugh at anybody.
Yeah, so I hate the Celebrity Big Brother thing. I didn't see it, so I can't really judge it and say whether it was good or not season, but I wasn't interested, so I figured I had more important shit to do than to do that. But I will be checking out the next season of Big Brother, the next normal one, at the very least. Are you fine with Shinsuke Nakamura as champion?
No, Tony, champion!
Thank you.
Exclamation point. Are you fine with Shinsuke Nakamura as champion? Honestly, no.
Based solely on his WWE tenure, he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I got a feeling when he wins that title, he's going to crash, and nobody's going to give a shit.
And I don't say not just deserve just based on the strength of his pushes, because he can't really determine that too much. And like the feuds with Jinder Mahal were obviously bad, but
Yeah, that
he
was
can't be
awful.
blamed entirely for that side of things, obviously. But he just hasn't seemed impressive since he came out of NXT. He's had like good matches with John Cena and Randy Orton on a couple of episodes of SmackDown, but other than that, it's just normal.
He's got no personality to himself outside of just watch this guy act a little weird. And even with Fastlane, they haven't used him at all. He just beat Aiden English this week. Why does that matter? So they're almost like
Day. That's why it matters, Tony.
well, they're almost like not pushing him into this main event thing, which is really kind of strange.
What did you expect?
I expected to have at least like 4 matches on the card, and it seems like we're just getting them all in one. Since we have a 6-pack challenge going on.
I think WWE is unfortunately, and I don't want to criticize too much because I know the match will be good, and I think Shinsuke Nakamura will thrive as champion, despite maybe not deserving it going into it. Being the main event star means that he can put on the longer matches. He can start to show a little bit more of his stuff and fight with some legitimate top names like on a constant basis. But I think they're resting on the laurels of this match being superb.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't need to build a feud because everyone has the idea in their head this is going to be the exact same match they had in New Japan, which I very much doubt it will be. Mainly just due to the fact that it's 3 or 4 years after that point. AJ is still amazing, but Shinsuke seems to have lost a step, maybe.
It's only 2 years. Right? No, it's only 2 years.
It's only 2 years.
He's almost in his 40s now, isn't he?
Yeah, they're both.
AJ is 40, isn't he?
Yeah, I know he is. I know
Shinsuke's, I think, 38, 39, I think.
I don't put too much stock in age, though, because...
No, it's not the age that's the issue.
You know.
But I just think they're resting so much on this match being great that if it doesn't at least match or surpass their match at Wrestle Kingdom, which unless they're given 40, 50 minutes, it won't. It's gonna be the feud is gonna be seen as something of a disappointment.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna look back and be like, "Well, the match was okay, but there's nothing building up into it," and it's gonna get pushed aside in favor of other things like
it was so much better when it was
stuff.
AJ. I preferred AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, I can't do that stuff because I'm in indie mode because they've actually got their name still.
Yeah.
When it comes to Nakamura, I blame like 75% of his lacklusterness on WWE and how they booked his matches, and definitely has to be with the people he's been in feuds with. He's definitely someone that you just can't rely on him to make a feud himself by either his promo skills or just by everything outside the ring. He has to be able to tell a story, and it doesn't feel like that WWE has given him too many opportunities on the main roster to actually go out there and tell what his story is wrestling. So I think, I agree with Caleb when he brought up the point where, he will get a chance to be in these longer matches with high quality people once he wins that title. I hope that happens, but I would not be surprised if Nakamura ends up being like a Yoshitatsu in like 3 years or something like that if they don't figure it out. Dude, I'm just joking, but I would not be surprised if this doesn't work out now with the title. If in like 2 years, 3 years, he's like a mid-card guy, maybe a tag team guy, who knows? But I hope it works out.
Well, I think that Shinsuke's NXT run was even mostly built around, hey, this could be a really quality match. Because I didn't think that his championship run was all that great. If he didn't have Joe to have, 4 or 5 title matches with, and they jumped right to Bobby Roode, it might not have been that, extravagant. With the WrestleMania thing, and I won't go too much into this because we got to cover Fastlane, but yeah, I think whoever he fights, whether it's AJ or AJ and company,
No,
I don't
continue.
know.
I'm sorry. Well,
No.
I want to say that he might have fucked himself by having that incredible match with Sami Zayn when he first got to WWE at Takeover, because that set such a high bar for people for some reason.
Well, it's sad because that's it. If anybody would look back in terms of like his matches, that's his peak. He peaked in his first night.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty
Well,
bad.
at least yeah. Well, you never know. He can pick again, but
Oh no,
well, hopefully he does that.
At the moment, that's his peak. So as we're talking right now, that's the most impressive he's looked.
So do you think he? I'm sorry, I keep on interrupting you, but do you think like at WrestleMania, do you think he'll be able to reach that peak again? Do you like personally? Do you think that this will be
If
something
anyone-
that restarts his career?
If anyone can get the greatest match out of his life out of him, then that's AJ Styles is the man to do it.
Too bad he's gonna fight Dolph Ziggler.
If he does,
I don't
I'm not
know.
on the
Baron
podcast
Corbin
anymore.
might win.
If he does, I'm quitting the podcast. At
Uh,
least till
for-
after WrestleMania.
For real though, I think AJ suffers from not AJ. Sorry, I think Shinsuke suffers from the structure of WWE television. You have to see this dude every single week, and a lot of the shine's gonna come right off because Shinsuke can't cut a promo all that well, and he's supposed to be an attraction. Like, wow, look at this crazy guy, look at his mannerisms, look at the way he wrestles, and he can't be an attraction on the main roster with the way they over spotlight their superstars.
I haven't been watching too much SmackDown, but I know that they've been having him not appear on SmackDown as much recently. Did he show up on Tuesday?
He did. He fought it. That's when he fought.
That's
Aiden
when he
English.
beat English, but that's the first thing he's
Okay.
done basically since winning the Royal Rumble.
I find it funny that they give him the Brock Lesnar treatment of like, oh, you don't need to be here at all, just show up. I'm assuming they're waiting for after Fastlane to actually start the Styles, Nakamura feud.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they think they could do that with Nakamura. He definitely I don't think he should be fighting every week, but he's got to show up so people will be like, oh yeah, that's the that guy won the Rumble.
Well,
That's the
here's
guy.
why they're doing it with Nakamura, because the go-to, hey, Nakamura needs a match, job the Nakamura guy would have been Ziggler or Corbin, and they're both in this six-pack challenge, so there's not much for Nakamura to do.
Who knows? It
Probably
might be a
fight Rusev.
7-part challenge or something.
He'll probably fight Rusev or something after the English thing. So
We'll figure that out a little bit more in the next couple of weeks. Let's move on to another question about WrestleMania here. This is another Frankie one. Are you pumped that WrestleMania next year is between Philly and MetLife Stadium? Yeah, kind of. It better be better than fucking WrestleMania 29, that's for sure.
I will go to WrestleMania if it's in Philly. I don't know about New York. That's a bit of a challenge.
That's
for me
not
to
New
get to.
York. Sorry.
It's not.
No, it's New Jersey, but they try to push
Oh,
it.
New Jersey. my
Yeah,
bad.
it's that New
it's
Jersey,
New
New York thing. It's
Oh,
we're
my
up in
bad.
New York.
Is it at
in-
MetLife?
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's my bad. I don't even know why I just say New York, but yeah. But I don't know. Just for me personally, if it was in Philly, I'd consider going to it. Only because Philly people are incredible people who just are almost as crazy as people in other
Climb up
countries when it comes to
greased
sports.
poles.
Yeah. Well, eat horse shit. Did you see that? That was incredible.
I didn't see that. What is
Oh,
it?
there's a video after they won the Super Bowl. There's a video of a bunch of people. Obviously, there was a bunch of, not riots, but definitely large crowds of people after they won. And there's like Snapchat videos or live streams of these people after like one of the horses from a cop like just takes a shit and just walks off. They go up to it and this drunk guy just starts eating it.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe it was like a
Philly.
bet. It was like, yeah, when the Eagles win, I'll fucking eat horse shit.
I don't know if it was a
like,
bet.
What could have been one of those things?
Philly stays extreme in every way. Ugh.
Let's
What?
see here. Are
Oh,
you
was
annoyed
it-
that Mysterio's appearance is just a one-off?
Yes.
We're hearing rumors that he might fight Cena at WrestleMania.
Absolutely not. Let's just
That's
bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen either.
Would it be incredible if that's what they've been building up with Cena for the past like however long? That would be the funniest thing.
that's
that
where
they
he's
could
fighting
do.
Heath Slater. I think he's fighting Heath Slater. That's what they're building up
only
to.
only if John does go completely batshit after losing at Fastlane, turns full heel, and that's where we get ready to go. But think of the children, John. And John's thinking like, fuck kids.
I will elaborate more on this if something pops up, but I want Mysterio to be on 205 Live, not elsewhere.
That'd be cool.
I wanted Mysterio Balor, but we're not getting that, I guess.
No,
I
we might.
wouldn't bury Mysterio into that situation.
Oh, come-
because I know 205 Live definitely isn't as bad as it was, but he's too big a star to push onto a show that's only shown on the
that's a
WWE
good point.
network. He's got too much like brand potential. But in terms of him coming back to WWE, I'm quite happy with him only showing up randomly. Not because I don't think he's a great guy and a great wrestler, but it's more along the lines of he seems to be doing really well on the independent circuit, and he seems to be like falling in love with wrestling again by doing that stuff. And he's obviously making probably even more money than he would be making in WWE. So as long as he keeps his appearances to a minimum, I'm quite happy.
And he'll
just
stay
clarify,
healthier too.
You want him more than just the Rumble, right?
More than just a Rumble, but I don't want him to be a week-to-week guy again.
This is a random question. Do you know how to ice skate?
Yeah.
Who's
I'm
Kate?
actually- Ice
Oh.
baby.
I don't even know how to roller skate, let alone ice skate.
I've
I
ice skated
both.
once in my life.
Guys, it's pretty easy. You all three of you could do it.
I have done it.
Oh, well, my bad. I didn't know. I didn't hear you. Are you good at it?
I've only done it. I did it like a few times in my teens, and I stayed on my feet. So I guess
Yeah. I haven't ice skated in a while, but I and my family in Indiana, hockey's not very popular. There's only a couple regional teams around here, and it was a lot of money to play on them, so I didn't get to play hockey when I was younger. But I definitely would have been a goalie, and that is the easiest thing ever. Like I went to a minor league hockey game the other day, and oh my god, it was incredible. So ice skating is incredible. Rollerblading is fun, and if I could rollerblade in the Olympics someday, that'd be fun.
Maybe rollerball.
Yeah, rollerball.
If it's like one of the balls from like I don't know guts or something.
Pens or pencils? I'll do you one more, Frankie. Statler Integrity 9505 mechanical pencils.
Yep.
Those are the best. At least as far as I've come across. And
That's a nano
so much
secret.
so that I wrote down the damn name in my notes before.
What was that name, Tony? I'm sorry.
Statler Integrity 9505.
Yeah, I heard
It's,
the 9054s are the better.
See, I'm British, so we only wrote with quills.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It'd be hilarious if it was like each tweet is like accompanied with like a feather.
Yeah, we've got our own personal owls as well and carrier pigeons.
I don't know why, but it never bugged me to win a pin if you fuck up and you just like mark through it. That doesn't never bugged me, but erasing something with a pencil because you could still kind of see it underneath it did bug me. So I'm gonna go with a pin.
Yeah, I can easily go either way here. I do love myself some mechanical pencils, but I'm probably more partial to pens at this point in my life.
This is a random aside for a wrestling show, but I like that about the mailbags. A little quick, fun little story. For anybody who knows ahead of time, I'm a huge James Bond fan, and I first got into Bond in 5th grade. So in 6th grade, a bunch of people, a bunch of friends of mine were all really into James Bond, and we called ourselves the British Secret Service. We had our own like 00 numbers. If we ever had to use like, you had to like make up an essay in class, and it's like, make up a story here, or like make up a math problem. And instead of being like Jane has 6 watermelons, it was always like Boris has this or whatever like that, from the movies and stuff. And we always thought that Boris in GoldenEye was funny with his pen. So we tried to find that pen for like the longest time. It's a Parker something or other. Parker Jotter, I think is the name of it. And any kind of metal pen that we would find, we would call it like, if it looked closer to it, it was like a something generation Boris pen and stuff like that. And we eventually got to the point where we found those pens, and we considered them so valuable that we would bet them in class in like games of blackjack and stuff. So in 6th grade, we'd like get done a project real quick, and everybody else is working on like, I don't know, some vocab words or some shit. And here's my group of friends, and we're all like playing cards, betting pens, and the teacher's just sort of like, you guys are going to be fucked up when you grow up. And it's just one of those random things that I always find funny. I still have a Parker Jotter, a Boris pen, as you would call it, and I still know how to twirl like a fucking beast. Yeah, I love these questions though. Pasta with chicken or shrimp? 9 times out of 10, chicken. I love shrimp though.
I love both. I mean, this depends. I think if you get like a garlic sauce, I'd rather have shrimp. But if it's more of an Alfredo, or if it's an Alfredo, or if it's like some kind of marinara sauce, you definitely have to go chicken.
Or like a parm.
Yeah, if you get a parm, or like if you get like any kind of scampi sauce for shrimp, that'd be good.
Damn, I'm hungry.
Ugh,
Yeah. I could go either way here. Like Drew said, garlic sauce. I gotta go chicken, but I gotta go shrimp. But chicken parm is my favorite thing on the planet. So
chicken parm, you taste so good.
For real.
Most unenthusiastic.
It was totally not.
Like
not lined up with the way this
song
song
watch
goes.
now or something.
There's your outro, essentially. What about you, Callum? Chicken or shrimp? Or
chicken.
zero?
I don't eat seafood in general.
Oh, well, then you're out for the next question.
Yeah, you're gonna love the next question. What's your favorite seafood?
None.
None at all, really?
When I see food, I eat it. So.
Classic 1920s comedy.
I know, we've only got to that stage now.
Crab is my favorite. Then lobster. Then shrimp and salmon. But I mean, like, clams are fucking good. Scallops are good. I had bacon wrapped scallops that were fucking amazing before, and I wish I could eat them again.
I love
like from that place specifically.
I will tell you, one of the most unimpressive seafood meals, swordfish. Very bland.
It's just white fish.
Yeah, very bland. No, it looks like a white steak, essentially. Very bland. I had it when I turned 19 when I went out to a fancy restaurant. I forget the name, but a fancy restaurant. Not as good as you would think it would be, and it was expensive as shit. So I don't get it unless they do some like funky ass shit with it beforehand.
Yeah, just don't eat shark either.
I've heard shark is good if you marinate it a certain way.
I've never had shark.
The only shark I've ever had just tasted like even drier tuna.
Alligator's really good.
Gator's fantastic, delicious.
Yeah. See, gator, it's always chewy to me.
Very good.
I didn't try stingray, but one time I had a friend who tried stingray in front of me. Did not look appealing, but he said it was okay.
I think I would want stingray if I could use 2 stingrays as buns for like a sandwich.
I didn't even answer the question. My favorite seafood is definitely crab. Cod's really good too. If you've ever with cod, you have to fry it. Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
I'm hungry as shit now.
I love all seafood. I'll give you a top 5. It's lobster at the very top, shrimp, calamari, clams, and probably salmon. Probably salmon.
I'll tell you what I don't eat is fucking oysters. Those look gross as shit.
Oh, they're good too. They're good too, man. Tony, have you ever been eating seafood in New York City?
I haven't gone yet, I don't think.
You should go. I think it's on, maybe not even New York City. It might be on Long Island. Sam's. Fantastic seafood.
If you go to anywhere in New England, I feel like you could get good seafood. Because I have good seafood in fucking Maryland.
Just don't go to Joe's Crab Shack.
Okay, I like Joe's.
Joe's isn't bad. Okay, so when I was 6 years old, and I don't know if you looked at this as child abuse, but I think it's pretty funny. So
it's a good way to start.
That's good. So when I was
sit back for this one.
I don't know if my stepdad and my mom were married at the time. I think they were engaged, but it was us and my sister and me, and we were on our way home from Indianapolis, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Joe's Crab Shack." Well, at the time, my sister threw a hissy fit, and I was like, if she's gonna throw one, I'm gonna throw one so I can get my way. So we both threw a fit, and it pissed off my mom and my stepdad. So we drove all the way home instead, which was about an hour away. And then when we got back, they ordered pizza, and me and my sister had to eat bread and water.
Oh,
not you didn't have to dip it, right?
I have no idea. I don't remember. I think we put butter on it, but no, we couldn't toast it. Couldn't put anything else on it. Just bread, butter, and water. And they had a pizza.
All right, so this isn't up there, but real quick, favorite pizza place?
I used to work at a pizza place called Grambolis. If you ever come to Indianapolis, definitely try that.
Local pizza.
Yeah, this is a local pizza. I like I said, I've only been to the East Coast a couple times, and unfortunately, the times I've been there, didn't get a good chance to check out many pizza places. So unfortunately, I feel like my taste in pizza would not be the best taste in pizza.
Yeah, pizza belt all the way.
I used to live in New York, so there's about 1 million local places to go there. But currently, I'm in Florida. There's a place called Esposito's. Best pizza I can find here. So that's got to be my pick right now.
Esposito.
I do it every time.
I don't know if it's a chain, but there's a place called Goodfellas, and they give you pretty big slices of pizza for cheap. So I like that place. Yeah.
Let's see here. We got, do you think WWE will have Ricochet win the Cruiserweight title or have him stay in NXT? I think he's staying in NXT for a while. For a while, definitely.
Yeah, NXT main event. Well, I don't think he'll ever win the title, but he'll be one of the people that's like a Roderick Strong or something like that. Like someone who's always in and around the area.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm curious to see if they push him beyond the Cruiserweights to see if he can be that next Rey Mysterio type.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm thinking. Speaking of NXT, have you seen enough of an upside for Adam Cole?
Baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike him.
I love Adam Cole. Fucking, I will live and die with Adam Cole same way I do for Dolph Ziggler. Adam Cole is fucking the man. He needs to bulk up a lot after I saw him in that Royal Rumble, but Adam Cole is fantastic, and there's all of it is upside for Adam Cole.
Adam Cole's great, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but if I was just to base him on what's happened since he joined NXT, he's not really anything special.
I'd unfortunately have to agree with you if we're just talking about NXT.
Like for the Undisputed Era, like the amount of time they've put behind him or behind the group or whatever, and like presenting them as a faction that's been taking over NXT, they haven't really done anything. I mean, they won the tag team titles, but like,
who cares?
Yeah, it's not like people just going, "Oh my god, they're going to force their way into the NXT Championship match, or they're going to take over WWE or something like that." It's just like,
which they should have by now. It's weird. Joe and Nakamura and Rude and all these other guys shot right to the title. Undisputed Era, not so much, and I don't know why.
Tiny.
And that didn't stop them with Neville or Balor. You want to talk about Tiny? Let's talk about Finn Balor.
That's a good point. We got another food question here: juice or soda? I don't drink soda at all in any version of soda. Nothing carbonated. I just don't like carbonation. So juice, preferably orange.
I got the soda.
I love it when you burst into song.
Well, I'm just saying that, Fetty Wap for life, players.
I drink literally nothing but Pepsi Max and Coke Zero. So
Pepsi Max and Coke, Pepsi Max. Never heard anyone just drop that.
Those are weird.
I'm drinking it right now.
Yeah, I just opened up a Coke for this question. I love soda. I'm going to have diabetes and kidney stones in tomorrow, but yeah, I have a horrible soda addiction and soda all the way.
I will say
I'm the healthiest one. Woo.
No, I will say that if it wasn't for super high metabolism for me, I would definitely be overweight. My family has always had soda in the house, and no one when I was younger ever was like, "Oh, maybe that's too much soda for you." So now I'm at that point where it's just like, "Oh, I'm just so used to it. It's just a part of an everyday routine."
Same.
But I will say that soda I can't drink as much soda as I used to. It definitely affects me more now. Like it's weird. I've grown up nowhere, but apparently with my stomach and stomach acid, because if I drink too much Coke, I'll get heartburn really bad. So
acidity is a problem for me too.
I've gotten to the point where if I don't drink either Pepsi, one of my usual soda drinks, for a couple of days, I get really bad headaches.
Me too. It's terrible.
I don't have that problem with my bottles of water. Deer Park, all the way.
Hey, Tony, how many hours did you sleep last night?
Yeah, I was going to say, Tony, when we sleep.
Hey, listen, when I wake up, I'll tell you. Let's see here. Drew might have a funny story with this, probably some kind of child abuse thing. What were some of your favorite childhood games? Hide and seek was probably my favorite. I never really liked hide and seek too much, but freeze tag probably was mine.
Freeze tag.
I liked Simon Says too. That was kind of fun to boss people around.
Definitely. A game that we used to play in my neighborhood was a trampoline game, and essentially you had like 3 people inside the trampoline, and you can have as many people outside of it, and you're just throwing the ball over like the fence end part of the trampoline, and you're just trying to hit the people on the inside, and if you hit them, you get to switch spots. That's all it is.
So the reward was to be inside?
Yeah, the reward is to be inside. We kept track. You could, and like you have to, the people on the inside have to throw the balls back out, but you have to throw the ball so close to someone, or like in the general vicinity of someone, and if that person caught it, you swap spots. Like, essentially, you're trying. Like one time, we had like 3 people in there for like 2 hours straight, and it was insane. And there was like 9 people on the outside, and there were balls flying everywhere. Holy fuck.
I bet there was.
Oh,
That
yeah.
legendary day where balls were everywhere.
You're in Indiana too. I bet Michael Jackson was around your area.
Well, actually, so Michael Jackson is more Chicago than he is Indiana. I promise you that much.
Well, he's kind of 6 feet under now, so I guess that's.
I forget where they buried him at. I don't think it was in Indiana.
Probably Hollywood.
Dude, it probably was like in the backyard of Neverland Ranch or some bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm. Another game we used to do in school, which they told us don't do this anymore, which I don't know why they waited so goddamn long. They waited like 3 years. Was wall ball, or as we used to refer to it as suicide, where you bounce a ball, and if somebody is supposed to catch it and they didn't, like it bounces around them, or if it touches them and they didn't catch it afterward, then they walk up to the wall, and whoever threw the ball gets to pelt them with the ball.
Yeah, we used to do that. Oh my god!
You know why they stopped us doing it back in like 4th grade? We had thrown too many balls over the top of the roof. Not the idea that people used to get pelted in the fucking brain with it.
Not so much a game, but in 8th grade, God, not even childhood, but in 8th grade math, or like algebra class, we played a game where we would take when someone wasn't paying attention, we would take the pencil off their desk, and we would take it and from across the classroom try to throw it into the trash can. And if you made it, that person had to go pick it up. But like the teacher never. He was just cool with it the entire time, and if you missed it, the people got to bag you on the way back.
Nice.
So
I love kids games
are
like
terrible.
In terms of games I've played, I used to play British Bulldog quite a lot, which is essentially a game where there's 1 or 2 people. Yeah. Yeah, it came to a very tragic end at that point. But no, there's 2 people standing at one side of like a giant field or something, and then there's about 20 people on the other side, and then you just run at the 2 people, and the 2 people's job is to take you down. They try and take down. If they take you down, you join their side, and then eventually it's just there's one person running against like an entire army of people, desperately trying to take them down. And like that was so much fun. We also played a game which was similar called Beat Me Back to Base, which is essentially you have like a bench or something, and that's your base. And essentially you just send a load of people out, and there's one person protecting it. And if they tag you, you join their side. But the idea is to get back to the bench, touch the bench before they touch you. And that was always fun. I like the games where you're just like active and there was a goal to get to.
Yeah, y'all had a much better childhood than I did. Hide and seek and shit like that was probably what I mostly remember playing. I used to wrestle with my brother. We used to do a lot of, pro wrestling stuff.
Iron Man matches.
Yeah. Oh, well, our parents had a hook in their room where I guess a picture would be hung, and we used to have that as like the ladder hook, and we would do the ladder match thing. And I outside of that, I had a game with my cousin called Shoot Your Enemies, where essentially we were just shooting at nothing, and we were like detectives or cops or something. But yeah, that's probably about it as far as active games. Now, board games would be a totally different discussion.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, we're not. We have one wrestling question before we get into a couple more that are non-wrestling. Would you have been fine with Balor winning the Rumble and facing Styles instead, and doing the whole leader of the Bullet Club thing?
That was
I actually would have liked that better.
I wouldn't. I think that idea is dumb. I would rather not in the sense of that it's just like a terrible idea. I just think it's dumb in the sense that there's a much better if you're going to incorporate the club or the Bullet Club into an actual storyline. There's better ways of doing it. Why would either of them want to be the leader of the Bullet Club before the Bullet Club even competes like as a stable in WWE? Because like they're not really. It's not really a club at all. Like it's very loosely associated.
You can imagine them talking through the commentary and saying, "Oh, these two guys used to be the heads of a faction somewhere," rather than actually explicitly saying it because they can't.
Yeah, I get that, and that'd be fine. But it's just like to do that in WWE, like to me, the club or the Bullet Club has like no relevance because of how unimportant Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson has been. And yeah, Balor and Styles has been doing their things as well, and they're pretty over overall. But it's like, why would you want to be the leader of those two clowns?
I don't know if it was like, oh, we're gonna fight to be the leader, but the way I saw it was Gallows and Anderson were still kind of heel, and if Balor won the Rumble, and then because they're unimportant, they could move Gallows and Anderson to SmackDown for this rivalry, and it's kind of like, all right, so we know that one of them is going to have Gallows and Anderson come and fuck with the other. Who's going to turn,
Yeah, and it could be like Gallows and Anderson might be like, I'm backing this guy, or I'm backing the other guy. Maybe they kind of have a little bit of a feud.
And then Adam Cole kicks somebody in the teeth, because Adam Cole was also the leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I just think you just have to get more people involved in it. I just think, I think you need to get it to like NWO levels, or not even like that levels. You just got to make that whole faction seem relevant and like an actual threat. Because if they were to just been like having a match right now or at WrestleMania, and then you win the title and the leader of the Bullet Club or the club or whatever the fuck they end up calling whatever club,
like they couldn't have Styles be like, I'm the leader of the Balor Club.
Yeah, so. Or the Balor Club, yeah. I think that's dumb. I mentioned this like when they started doing the Balor Club stuff. I'm like, why the fuck would two people want to be associated with a club that's named after the leader?
Yeah, it's like a band where it's like,
it's like, yeah, you're
like,
you're both
so and so
bass.
and the blah blah blah.
Van Halen,
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, neither way. But Darius Rucker wasn't Hootie. I just found that out not too long ago. Made me sad.
Huh.
Isn't Van Halen's son name Beethoven, or is it
maybe
you're
it's
asking the audience here.
He plays bass in that band, so Payne would know.
Bass Halen.
Bass Halen.
So another random non-wrestling question: would you rather a snake suck on your flesh or a kangaroo kick you? I'm gonna call you out on something here, Frankie. You never said the snake had to have teeth. You can suck on something without teeth. So I'm picking the snake that just sits there and goes and tries to gum on me, and then I go, you suck, you little fucking belt.
I wouldn't care if it had like teeth or not, as long as it wasn't poisonous. Like the kangaroo kick probably would kill you.
Oh, that'll fuck you up, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why even, as long as it's not like some king cobra or some shit, you gotta pick snake.
If it's not venomous, then yeah, sure, I'll take the bite or whatever. It's rather than be launched halfway across a field of whatever after one swift kick from a kangaroo.
I don't want to piggyback off Tony and say, yeah, snake with no teeth, but I don't want to get fucking kicked by a kangaroo, so I'll
to be
take the
fair,
snake with no teeth.
He didn't specify that the kangaroo has legs. So
that's that same argument, I guess. I will say I'd rather get kicked by the kangaroo, and I think the only reason why is because you don't know whether that snake is. I'm just gonna assume that the snake has teeth, and I'm gonna assume that, and I'm gonna assume the kangaroo has legs. Otherwise, this question is just dumb. So, on those merits that that they actually have the stuff they need, I'll take the kangaroo because what if that snake's fucking venomous, bruh?
What about if
come
it's
to
a
get
baby
you.
kangaroo? Like it's just born and it just like taps you with its leg and it's like, oh, look at that, it's kicking me.
Well, there you go. There you go, Frankie. Next month, more specifics.
I'd say one for certain. I'd definitely rather be kicked by a snake than bitten by a kangaroo.
Yeah, I'll pick that one.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just try, bitch. What is cuter, a cute smile or a laugh? All right, now technically I can argue that you already put a cute smile. No, I'm not going to kid it. That'd be bullshit.
That'd be
Thankfully,
funny.
I am lucky enough that my girlfriend has the best in both. Can't talk right now. Mostly because I was reading the part that's coming up next with popcorn and I got hungry. If you're cheating with the answer, smiles come out of laughs too. So I'll go with the laugh.
Well, Tony wins the award for best boyfriend on the podcast.
Oh, I told her yesterday. I was like, by the way, I'm recording the podcast tomorrow, and I'm totally gonna talk about your smile right now, which made her smile and laugh. And then I said, look, you're just giving me more ammo. So she's adorable. I win. And,
You sure do.
smiles and laughs are underrated.
I'm a smile guy. When a girl has a cute smile, it's probably the best thing.
I'd go
Yeah.
with the laugh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to dissociate my ex with this question and just trying to get like a non-biased answer. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with the smile, and I'm only gonna go with that because usually you most likely will notice someone's smile before you get a chance to meet their laugh or hear their laugh.
I'll ask you this
And-
then: what is cuter out of my laugh and smile, Drew?
I mean, I hear you laugh more.
Yeah.
So, and when I see you smile, I think of a pink shirt. So I can't kind of take that seriously.
When you smile, I assume something's wrong.
That's funny because it's true.
But yeah, a cute smile. It definitely has to be a cute smile, just because you see that first. Oh, and also because he said a cute smile and just laugh.
Yeah, that's true. It could be one of those. I mean, I dated somebody that had this horrible laugh where the first date she was like, people always say that that they love my laugh, and somebody the other day told me that they would love to record my laugh for a ringtone, and I was just sitting there going like, that's 'cause it's fucking ridiculous.
Or is it like a Fran Drescher kind of laugh?
No, she would go like that. And if I would have seen the Room around that time, I probably would have associated her with Tommy Wiseau, but it was
Oh
always
my
just
God.
like and I was every time she would laugh like that, I would crack up, and she always thought that I just thought whatever it was funny, and instead I was just laughing at her.
I will say that my ex's laugh was it was funny because of just how weird it was. Because sometimes it would sound like an evil villain. it was just
That sounds more like
incredibly-
Waluigi to me.
maybe Waluigi, but I don't know. It was just funny. It's very sometimes with a laugh, though, just someone's laughter usually implies that you in some way made them laugh. So it depends on whether or not you really think you need voice or just the sight of something to feel happy about a situation or to feel like something is cute. I guess it's
Or
really just a
if you're
preference.
deaf.
Well, if you're deaf, it's definitely the laugh. So
And
If
if you're
you're
deaf, you're
blind.
not listening to this podcast, so you're not offended.
By the way, is Tony the only one of us who is currently in a
yes,
relationship?
my relationship just ended 2 days ago.
Oh man.
Yeah, it though I will
Callum?
no, it's
Not 2 days.
I-
No,
well
I
I
wasn't
will
dating Drew either.
unfortunately, but I will say that it's actually not as bad as what I thought it'd be. So
Good.
yeah,
I can't relate. I
What's up?
just ended something and it's not great.
it's okay. I will. I was in a relationship for. I know this is definitely not the question now, but when you're in a relationship for like 3.5 years, you definitely feel like you'll be with that person for the rest of your life. So definitely, the first when mine ended, it took me about honestly till like 6-7 hours ago to get over that. It's not gonna happen. So I need to get over that fact and move on just from that standpoint of just not thinking that I need to be with that person for the rest of my life after thinking that for 3 years. I thought that was the hardest part, and I think I got over that pretty
That's
quickly.
good to hear.
Yeah.
for you.
So, yeah. Woo.
Good, Drew. Go,
Yeah.
Drew.
Aye.
Now here's the king of transitions here. If we're talking about pairs, what pairs better with popcorn than butter?
Nothing. Oh my God, butter. Extra butter on popcorn is the stuff dreams are made of.
You are really underestimating nacho cheese.
Never had that actually pushed on top of that all that much. I've dipped it, but I've never mixed it.
If anyone, okay, no offense, if anyone ever dipped or poured nacho cheese on top of if I was on a date with someone and it was my first date, and for some reason I'm dumb enough to go to a movie theater where you don't have to speak with someone on a date, and if I might end the date if they put nacho cheese on top of the popcorn I just bought. That is very selfish. That is rude. You didn't ask, and you dip it occasionally on the side. It's like you get nachos, you have nacho cheese, and you dip a couple on the side.
See, I go bunch of crunch and butter if I feel like being a fat ass.
A bunch of munch is better.
Munch of crunch, munch of bunch, bunch of crunch bunch.
Samana.
I've done hot sauce, butter, and a little bit of pepper for like some really spicy popcorn. Pretty good.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, but you had
It's too
spicy
for me.
popcorn?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like spicy, so I'm not going to shit on that idea. I'm very interested in that.
I think I told this story before. I was on a date with somebody. It was like our second or third date or whatever like that. Because I agree, Drew. Movie dates are not good for a first date. But she wanted to put sugar on our popcorn.
What?
And I was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. Like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I go to the movies too often. She's engaged now, so that's fine.
Someone was fine with that, I guess. But I remember living my whole life thinking that eating grilled cheese with mustard was normal, which is yeah. So it's if you ever try if you like spicy stuff, you'll think that a grilled cheese and mustard is actually really good. And I was able to turn people onto it, even though their first response is like, "Oh my God, that's like weird shit." And I apparently have been weird. It's just like the pretzel sprouts thing all over again, Tony. It's like, oh my God, no one told me that this was not the way to be. Oh, that's awkward.
The only thing I've ever put mustard on is like pastrami sandwich, you know?
Dude, mustard is good on everything.
I will call you out on that in a question, and we're going to skip one. Because one of the other questions that Frankie has is hot dogs, plain or with something on it. Some people put ketchup, some people put mustard, some people put relish. Are you a mustard guy?
I put ketchup and mustard. I'm not a big fan of Coney dogs, but that just might be of how they make them here. I definitely want to go to Coney Island to try one. That'd be interesting. Maybe. Who knows?
Cracked up to be.
I go plain hot dog, but if I'm going to do something else, cheese or a chili cheese dog. Mostly plain.
I like the chili cheese dog. I tend to go plain with most type of meat. Like I like to let the meat speak for itself first.
It doesn't anymore. It's dead.
Well, the flavors.
Oink.
Why did you kill me?
Yeah, plain hot dog is my usual preference.
Callum, please don't tell me that you are like some kind of British thing where you put baked beans on there.
Of course you do.
You just like stereotyping me.
Yes, I am.
I mean, yes, no. I go with I go ketchup, and occasionally put like fried onions or something on there as well, just as like add a little bit more flavor. But ketchup is like a definite.
Can somebody please add the same question but for burgers for next month?
I mean, you can answer that now. I mean, I put a shit ton on a burger.
I'm gonna save that for another one because I could go on and on about different things to put on burgers.
Yeah, Frankie needs some questions.
Yeah, that's totally gonna be a question too. That's what's the funny thing is it's somebody, whether it's Peter or Frankie or whatever, is gonna go, all right, and they're gonna write it down in their notes, and I like you guys.
Tony, we gotta reserve a day for snack talk. Like
we really do. We've got more time this year with less pay-per-views, so we'll have to do it. I'll make up a logo. It'll be like I don't know, lunch trays and stuff. Backtracking to the other thing, this is going to be really quick. I just want to say a yes or no because we can get more into this if it pops up. EC3 versus Velveteen Dream, if it happens at New Orleans. There's nothing saying it ahead of time, but yay or nay?
I'd be
Yay.
cool with it. Yeah, I think I'm very. If EC3 does come to WWE, I'm very curious what they do with him.
He's here. Have you not been watching?
Oh,
Yeah, he
I
popped
do
up
not-
on a takeover.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he was in the crowd.
What he was?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I forgot about that.
He cut a promo and everything. Oh, he
The
got
only-
a promo on the website.
Yeah, actually, the only reason why I knew that was because they said something about it at Royal Rumble. So, for those of you who don't know, the last time I was on here, I was forced to do a takeover prediction show when I didn't watch anything leading up to it. So obviously my
remember.
takeover knowledge. Oh yeah, obviously my NXT knowledge isn't the best, but has he wrestled at all?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I keep up with spoilers for shows. I haven't seen him wrestle, so I didn't know if he's actually showed up. I totally forgot he did. So never mind.
I'd be cool with the match, but I think they're going to do Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet instead.
Me too.
Yeah, I could see that being more the case. Where are we on now? I skipped something, so now I need to backtrack to that other thing. Okay. Since last year was a bit of a downer for WWE, do you like the way that they're starting the new year off?
No.
Of course I do. Jeff Jarrett's going into the Hall of Fame. Somebody sing "With My Baby Tonight" with me. Huh?
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm being real. Somebody, come on.
No, you should find a baby to do that with you.
Spend my days working hard on the go. Anyone?
I'm not too into a lot of what WWE's going on, but I think it depends on what happens with WrestleMania.
I'm actually quite positive. I've actually quite enjoyed a lot of what WWE are doing. Well, Raw, I think, has gotten really good in the build-up towards WrestleMania. NXT's always been consistent, in my opinion. 205 Live's improving, just due to the fact that they're actually concentrating on wrestling as opposed to, like, whoever,
Yeah, that's
Enzo's
upgraded.
fucking whatever.
Enzo Amore, yeah.
SmackDown sucks and is worse than it's ever been since I've been watching it. Like,
What do you
Really?
mean? We've got this incredibly enthralling storyline where Jinder Mahal is obsessed with Bobby Roode's reaction to Randy Orton in a SmackDown top 10 list that they've never set up to mean anything or be purposeful in any way. It's
Hold on.
amazing.
What?
But stay
No.
tuned. We got a 6-woman tag team match coming up. Just in, over
So
the
what
break.
you're saying is I should totally get rid of the tickets I just got for SmackDown.
When are you going?
I'm just fucking with you. I didn't get tickets.
Oh,
but-
okay.
They sell them, but no one would buy them. So
Oh
So,
god, yeah, I
I
probably have
really
to
like-
give them money.
I really liked the Royal Rumble. I thought the Royal Rumble, specifically the men's one, was one of the best I've seen in a while. Raw is such a marathon to watch. And I watched SmackDown for the first time in probably 2 months this past Tuesday, and I thought they have a lot of interesting places they can go. Whether or not they actually go to those places, we'll see. But, I'm optimistic, but I think the real key is the follow through after Mania, because the road to Mania is always good. It's the months afterwards that tend to suck ass.
Let's see here. We got, with growing reports that Brock Lesnar will be leaving after WrestleMania, and essentially this boils down to should Lashley replace Lesnar?
Yes and no. Yes, Lashley should be in WWE. I don't think we need a replacement Lesnar.
Yeah, I don't want a guy who comes in only once every once in a while, but I do like the tough MMA guy.
I'm fine with Lashley. I loved Lashley when he was originally in WWE back in like 2006. But I will say that if you were going to give me like, not even like the B version of Lesnar, you're like giving me the C version of Lesnar, then I don't want that to be his replacement.
Well, who would be the B version of Lesnar in your mind?
Probably someone else from UFC. Someone, I wouldn't say Conor McGregor, but Conor McGregor is a bigger star than him, but it would be someone. I mean, it would just be a well-known person in like UFC if they brought him over with no skill in wrestling. But
like a
to
John
me, that would be the
Jones
B.
like John
Yeah.
Jones or Daniel Cormier or something
Yeah,
like that.
just something like that. If they brought over a well-known star that wasn't like McGregor, who is the biggest fucking name in sports right now, then yeah. So
I want to see Matt Riddle get signed. Speaking of MMA guys who do some wrestling, Matt Riddle needs to get a contract like soon. But as far as Lashley, I have a bit of a problem with him from a WWE standpoint because I don't know. We're all around the same age. Lashley was this dude who was like built to be the next guy. You know, he was as big as Cena, as big as Batista. He got to feud with Vince. You know, he was with Trump. And he just walked away from the company. And to me, that's like, you know, shitting on Vince McMahon after him giving you all this shit. So
I mean, he was technically released from his contract, and it wasn't exactly like amicable, but he was injured. He was on the shelf at the time that he got like released or decided to leave the company.
That was so weird when that happened.
A lot has changed in that time. Obviously, he's not someone who's burnt bridges to an extent of, like, say, I mean, Ultimate Warrior burnt every bridge that he possibly could, and he ended up back in WWE.
And he's their Ultimate Warrior now. Our precious Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. So, and Lashley's improved a lot in his time at Impact Wrestling. He definitely he's more confident on the microphone. He's better in the ring. He's got more of a presence about him. So I think he'll be far more of a complete article when he does come back into WWE. He definitely can't replace Lesnar just due to the fact that Lesnar's a more household name. And I just don't think, while Lashley has improved, he just doesn't have Lesnar's aura or presence about him. So I think he is someone who could feud in the main event for a little while, but will eventually be brought back down to an upper mid-card level.
I think he can absolutely stay in the main event. I do not want to see him get Lesnar treatment of, hey, I only need to appear 10 times a year on TV, because to me, he hasn't earned that right. He's definitely one of the few Impact success stories, but no, he should be full-time on the main roster. He'll be a great addition to the main event scene. I'm looking forward to it, but no, he hasn't earned Lesnar status.
I think they're really hoping Ronda Rousey can be the new Brock Lesnar if Lesnar leaves. I think that's what I would assume that's what they're hoping if he does walk away, which I really don't expect him to walk away. I think he's doing the same thing he did the last time around. He's like, oh, wait, you only want me to show up 3 times a year now and you're going to give me twice as much to do that? Sign me up, baby. You know that he's just doing this for the money. And also, do you really, as much as people like to think that he's going to go back to UFC, I find it really hard for UFC to want him back, especially after what happened last time, where he couldn't even go one match before failing a test. So even with
early 40s as well, so
exactly,
his shelf life is dwindling. So.
I mean, unless we think of Lesnar kind of like with what LeBron James is, or like with John Cena, as these people that don't necessarily seem to age and they're just going to be like they get better as they get older, then who knows? Maybe Lesnar is someone who can compete for a long time because we have the technology and just like the type of medicine and all that stuff to have athletes compete longer. So maybe it is
can
possible.
Rebuild him. We have the technology.
Bionic Lesnar. Let's move on here. Do you like pretzels?
Yes, I love pretzels.
Yeah. Those also go good in popcorn.
Soft pretzels are good.
Yes.
The other ones aren't really.
And give or take.
With caramel sauce, Tony.
The soft pretzels with the caramel? Yeah, that's the best one. Let's see. Would you rather... I thought this was funny. Would you rather be trapped in a room with Braun Strowman or Paige? It depends on what we're doing.
Paige.
If we're just hanging out, Strowman all the way, man. That dude's probably funny as hell.
Yeah, but I get the idea of like being trapped in a room suggests that there's been something that's happened to cause that.
I assume that they were going to be in character as well. And Strowman's not very nice in character.
Also, how big is the room? Because Strowman would take up quite a lot of it.
That's a good point.
Well, I'm tiny, so I can form Team Little Big with Strowman and Paige, you know.
Here's a question. Would you rather Strowman bite your arm or Paige kick you?
I'd rather Paige kick me. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman only because Paige would just be like, anytime I'd be like, so how are you? This is my room. Yes, I know it is, but
how
this is our room.
Talk shit, get bit.
Yeah. Does it say get bit or get hit?
Get bit.
Oh my god.
Get bit.
That's not even as good as get hit.
Tattoo is terrible.
It's tattooed on her skin.
Here's another question. Are you someone who dreams when they sleep? I think everybody technically dreams.
Yeah,
let's just pick at a point. But do you remember your dreams more than anything?
No. And
Probably 1 out of 10 or something like that, maybe. But...
Yeah, I don't remember too much of them, but when I do, they're like boring as shit and they make no sense.
No, Tony, this is a dream. You're still asleep.
That would make sense. It's pretty boring.
The only ones I remember are like the ones that I could just be doing like whatever the day was happening anyway. So it just feels like, oh yeah, I fell asleep and I was like, I don't know, doing work or sitting at a desk or something, and oh, I woke up. Oh, I've got to do that today when I go.
I never have those dreams.
I will never remember my whole dream. If I remember my dream, it'll only be bits and pieces of it. And if I do remember a dream, it's like once a week. So it's not very often, but
that's more than I remember mine.
Well,
I remember mine like once every 3 months.
Well, I will only remember mine for like 15 minutes or like 30 minutes, and then I'll forget about it. Only the last dream I had that I can remember, fully remember what it was more than a month ago. But I will say that smoking weed makes it so you don't dream as much or you don't remember your dreams. So I will say that might have something to do with it, because I will say when I was in high school, I can remember my dream like 5 days a week, it seems. So I think depending on what you do recreationally, that has something to do with it as well. Fun fact.
One of the issues with me, you have to sleep to be able to dream.
Yeah, like for really, Tony, you only remember 1 every 3 months because you only sleep once every 3 months.
I will leave this for a discussion for another day, but eventually we'll do like some dream talk or something like that. And
well, where do you guys stand on lucid dreaming?
I have only done that once. I have a friend who I used to go to school with, and he would talk about how he was able to lucid dream all the time. And I would try it, but I never was able to fully do it, except for like one instance. And in that instance, I don't remember anything of it still because I suck at dreaming.
I like it. I don't do it as often as I try to, but it's fun when you get the chance to actually pull it off.
We're making it sound like it's a drug. It 100% is a drug, kids. Don't lucid dream.
Yeah. Don't do lucid dreams.
That's the L in LSD.
Don't lucid dream and drive.
Lucid sleep dream. That's what LSD stands for. Remind me at some point if we do a whole dream breakdown thing of windmill, of dinner plates, and I'm trying to think of some of the other dreams and harmonies in a symphony. I'll just leave it at that. Little tease. And about toilet vortex. That sounds ridiculous, but it was actually the freakiest dream I've had in the longest time. Would you agree that Baron Corbin has the best new music in WWE? Frankie really likes it. I like it enough. I haven't downloaded it, but it's cool.
The lyrics have really made it good.
Yeah.
Before that it was just like a load of noise, really. And now it's I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It's definitely one of the best, I think, but it's not my favorite still. Like, you still have to go with someone like your Nakamura as your Bobby Roodes, the usual.
I like Cedric's a lot.
I don't hear it enough because I don't watch 205 Live.
That's a weird choice, Tony. Cedric Alexander?
I like the beginning of it more than anything. And then, of course, they cut out the beginning of it now. So,
it's on my workout playlist, but it's not like my favorite theme song of all time or anything. I think Bray Wyatt's got the best one. I want Randy to get rid of Voices.
I love Voices. I don't want him to get rid of it. Oh, what are we on? What are we on? 205 Live. Are you digging Drake Maverick as the 205 Live general manager? I'm the only one that watches it. So.
I'm glad this question came up. No, Tony, I watch it with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this would be a lot more effective if the brand as a whole wasn't so in-ring driven. Like, everybody's a good wrestler now, so it takes away from the cruiserweights, but I like this a whole lot more than the Enzo Amore show.
I think he's a little bit over the top, but I like him. Just because he's like...
Oh, well, Rockstar Spud himself is just fantastic. He's one of the best characters that TNA created. A lot of TNA influence on WWE now.
I like this question. Did you ever cheat on any test in school? All the fucking time. I used to actually, even like for say like chemistry class, we would be able to use our TI, was it 85, 83, whatever that is, those calculators, and I would just type out like the fucking formulas in there, and just I'd get a pencil and write on the actual calculator itself. If there was a test, or more so a subject, that I knew I would never use in my entire life, I was like, fuck it, I'll just cheat, because I'll just use my time for something better. Like trigonometry. I've never once used trigonometry ever since high school. Outside of passing that class and getting through that and getting a fucking A, it was just like, that's all it was useful for me was they forced you to take another math, and I don't want to lose my honor society stuff, so fuck it, I'll just co-sign this bullshit and whatever. And I have never been in a single instance where I've been like, oh, I wish I would have actually learned that tangent nonsense.
My trigonometry teacher used to let me just take the tests throughout the course of the day. So yeah, I was cheating on those as well.
Never cheated.
My calculus teacher was a pain in the ass. Our senior year, he was the type of guy who would go, whenever you talk, he would go, shushies to the talkers, shushies, everybody.
Shushi.
So
Shush.
we 100% cheated, because he was one of those people where he'd explain to you what happened, what you're doing, and it doesn't fucking make sense. But you tell him it doesn't make sense, but he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's how I was taught. And it's like, well, look up other fucking ways to do it. Obviously,
Mate,
your
you're
way
a
is
teacher.
and thus was born Common Core math.
But oh my gosh, so we cheated in that class because the teacher wasn't helping at all, and it was one of those classes where everything was done on computers. So, and you could take quizzes and tests not in class, you could take them wherever. So we would just do it together. I mean, if that's one way of cheating, then yeah. But it's just incredible the type of shit you could get away with now. I guarantee you, these kids who like with all what the computers that they use instead of paper now, I bet they cheat all the time. And I wish I had that fucking advantage.
We had a thing in school, in middle school, called accelerated reading.
Same.
Where you had to take the test at the beginning of the year to find out what level of books you had to read.
The AR test.
Yeah, and then it was like a point system, and it was like each book was a certain level and worth a certain amount of points, and you needed a certain amount of points, and you needed to also take tests.
Yeah,
and like that kind of thing. Yeah. And I realized really early on that the computer that we had in 7th grade, that they would give you the answers at the end of every question. And if you exited out of the program with a task manager, that it never registered that you started to take the test.
Wow.
So I would get to the very second to the last question, and I would just restart the program, and I would know all the answers to everything ahead of time. And a couple of years after that, I went back to my elementary school, and my middle school teacher was teaching there. And I did like a student teaching type thing. And she was like, oh, you used to cheat all the time at that thing. And I'm like, what? You knew? And she's like, yeah, but I figured if you were smart enough to get around the system, you deserved it. And I was like,
that is true.
You're awesome, Ms. Pebner. That's sweet. Thanks for letting me avoid having to read this garbage, because I didn't want to read that crap.
My 7th grade year, we had to do it each semester, and you had to get like whatever points you had to get by the end of the semester. And I was being lazy, and it was the day before we had to like do that shit before it was like finalized. And I was too lazy to read a book because I wanted to play Grand Theft Auto 4 instead, normal kid shit. So I bought the audiobook of something, and I listened to an audiobook of a book that I would take the test of twice, because just like you could, no, I didn't use Task Manager, but you could simply just do the test and it tells you after each question. And if you just because I don't even think we did like the Task Manager thing, but every once in a while you could log out of it and log back in. You could take it right away and it wouldn't recognize itself. So I tried that afterwards and it worked. So essentially I got away scotch-free because I bombed the fuck out of that AR test because I had I was too busy playing Grand Theft Auto.
Callum, you said you never cheated at a test?
No, I was...
You posh, fancy British
person.
I don't want to like sound like arrogant or something like that, but I was the top kid in most of my classes, so I didn't have anyone to cheat off
We-
of.
I want to.
Oh, if you're talking about cheating off of somebody, I never did that before.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well I
I
didn't
never
have.
trusted anybody else.
I decided like. I mean, I know that it's not a case of like all doing all the hard work and it will all pay off in the end of something like that, but I just liked doing the work. I know that's like, oh, such a nerd or whatever or something like that, but it was just like I found it interesting, so I decided to actually just study and learn this stuff. It was rewarding in its own way.
Good guy, Callum.
Well, see, you hear Caleb speak, and if you listen to Wago, you could definitely tell which one cheated and which one didn't, just by how they talk. No, nothing against Wago. Just Caleb's so quiet. He's just, oh yes, hello everybody. Like a little bit like Mrs. Doubtfire, just so pleasant, nice. So it's always nice to speak to Caleb.
I figure Wago probably drew a dick on his tests and just
Yeah.
said like the answer is like knob or something. Oh, I like this joke. Have you heard that the Uno company is making a new game called Dose?
I heard Trey was better.
Yeah, I have that down in my thing. It says, well, if it doesn't work, then trace is the charm. Have you ever done cliff jumping? No, and I've never
Nope.
even seen Cliffhanger.
I have cliff dived once. It's fun. It's interesting. Though it's only interesting if you go to somewhere where people have actually died from before. Then it's like, ooh, spooky. No,
I would
danger.
try it. I would try it if I could get a piece of the aggro crag.
Oh my gosh, I am not I like swimming, not huge fan of it. I definitely think I'd be someone that would drown after a while if I'm swimming for too long. So I think that's why I've never been a big fan of it.
I think
But
everyone is like that.
I mean, some people last a long time. I don't think I last as long as the other people, unfortunately. But swimming's okay. Cliff diving is way more fun than swimming. If I did swimming as in school, I would be a diver. That'd be more fun.
I
But do you-
cannot swim.
Don't you live in
Okay.
Florida?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of cliffs in Florida though.
Yeah, but there's a lot of water.
Well, I lived in Hawaii for a year. You can imagine there was cliffs and a lot of water.
I feel like if you go to Hawaii and you go, yeah, I can't swim. I think you're like that awkward kid who's like eats his like glue in class to them. Like,
Well,
oh, you don't have a surfboard? Oh, you're fucking dweeb.
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's okay, Robert. We appreciate you for not swimming. That's like a Midwestern thing, though. I'm around people who can't swim all the time. Like it felt weird being in my swim class in 9th grade and people going, I can't swim. And you see people with like floaties and shit and you feel slightly embarrassed for them. But it's okay, Robert. I'm not embarrassed for you.
That makes
I
me
don't-
feel great.
No, I don't
know
care.
any- I was gonna say I don't know anyone called Cliff, so I wouldn't be able to jump off them.
You don't
You know
have
Cliff Clapton?
I know a lot of Cliff.
No, I never met him, unfortunately.
Were you a fan of dodgeball as a kid?
The movie or
The
That's a good
actual,
point.
just the game.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, I like the dodgeball. That was actually one of my favorite things to do in phys ed.
it's like the only good thing to do in phys ed.
Yeah,
That or
I liked kickball too.
kickball is fun. Capture the flag is fun. The senior camp out my senior year, we were playing capture the flag, and I almost got in a fight with the wrestler because apparently people don't like it when you pretend that you're out when you're not. So they never established you couldn't do that, and they were like, I was just hanging out near them, and I was just like, nah, man, don't bind me, and they bought it. And then they got mad, and I'm like, dude, I did it, and then like they got in my face. Two people got in my face, and one of them was really mad about it. I was like, dude, it's a fucking game of capture the flag. It's like after today, I'm gonna see you at the senior brunch, and then the graduation. So fuck off.
You're gonna
And-
never again.
No, he got in my face, and I'm like, dude, get away from me before like you. I was like, I cannot believe you're doing this right now. It was just something where I just could not believe someone would get mad at fucking capture the flag. I've seen people get mad in dodgeball though. But my school wasn't cool. They got rid of like the rubber balls, and you had to use like the foam balls.
Oh, see, the rubber ball is the best because it's got that noise, that like
Yeah.
dunk kind of thing, and you're like, yeah,
and the
that's
best sound in
shit.
the world is when it hits someone in the face and breaks their.
Oh yeah, right after you hear that thunk, and they're like, ah, and you're like, you're
My
out.
glasses.
Yeah.
I could be quite stupid as a kid when I was playing dodgeball and stuff like that because we played the rules where if you get hit in the face, it doesn't count as an elimination. So if I thought I was going to get hit, I would just throw my face in front of it to stop him.
Just headbutt the ball.
Yeah.
That's funny. We have 3 more from Frankie here. What is the best thing that you can cook? I can make a mean grilled cheese.
Well, you better have mustard with them next time,
Nope.
bitch. Well,
I can make some chicken cutlet, and it's pretty fucking good if I do say so myself.
I will say the one thing about living with my girlfriend and my roommate, who's my best friend, both of them were really good cooks. So I learned how to make a lot of stuff from them. I can make a mean chili now. I can make a good steak. I can make a lot of shit with chicken. I make mean Mexican food now. So yeah, definitely if you need a cook, I could be that guy. I make a badass pizza as well. And
About to hire Drew as a personal chef.
nah, I want to do. I mean, if you hired me as a personal chef, I'd laugh and be like, "Cool, I'd do it still." I feel like that'd be the funnest job or like the easiest job ever, just to like be a celebrity chef. Because then like you get to hang out with them for free, and then like sometimes you get to appear on their like Instagram pictures. It's like, yeah,
So do you want to be Guy Fieri?
no, I want to be.
I don't think even he does.
I don't even know what that is.
I've been
You don't
trying to
know
do.
who Guy Fieri is? If you saw a picture, you'd know.
I think I'm slightly aware of him, but I think
How do you-
I don't cook very often because I'm like a microwave meal type of guy. But I've been told I do good mashed potatoes. That's about it, really.
That's so
Oh.
interesting. It's like, how can you fuck up mashed potatoes though?
I've seen
you can
people
fuck it
fuck up
up,
mashed
yeah.
potatoes.
Waterlog them, and then they'll suck. So you
Oh,
know.
yeah, that's true.
You even make them too like runny, or you have lumps all over the place in them.
Yeah, that's
Let's
true.
see. I like the lumps.
Well, you're a
I
lump.
like lumpy.
People
Well,
in my
just 'cause I
family like
am.
lumps, and I'm not a fan of the lump.
I'll go one further and say I also like the skin.
Uh-huh.
I
God,
do.
you're an animal.
But give me a baked potato over mashed potatoes.
Yes. I agree.
Here, this is one that's great for my OCD. When you eat a meal, do you eat one thing and then move on to the next, or do you go all around? Follow-up question, do you need to drink something during your meal, or do you wait until after you're done eating? Real quick, I'm going to push off aside the drink thing. I don't drink too much all that much throughout the day, so I can have like one glass of water that lasts me an entire meal, and I've got like some of it left over and stuff, unless it's something like, I'm eating chips and I'm like, thirsty as hell. But the what you eat type thing, like how do you eat, I try to balance everything out to where I have like a little bit of everything on each forkful, unless it's something that I can't necessarily, and I'll eat like kind of like not like go around in a circle. I'll eat whatever I kind of want to eat, but I want to make sure that I've got one final bite of everything left and that it's a good bite. So if I've got like French fries on my plate, I'm going to particularly figure out that's the good French fry I'm going to eat last. That kind of a thing. And it drives me crazy if I don't end up doing that and I end up like eating all of something before I'm done. And I'm like, oh man, I really wish I had like another forkful of that or something. And I also will go that much further. I actually reposition things on a plate where my meat, if I have like spaghetti and meatballs, the meatballs are on like the top right quadrant. So that's what goes on in my brain. That's why I can't sleep at night, because stupid bullshit like this.
I like do the mix and match thing, so I'll just like eat kind of whatever, maybe just pick up a few bits and pieces like you say. The only meal that I don't, if I go have McDonald's, because I usually have like fries and McNuggets unless I want like a burger or something like that, so I get the fries and McNuggets. I always eat the fries first and then eat the McNuggets, because the fries go colder quicker.
Yeah. In a situation like that, you have to throw yourself on the sword.
Yeah.
So
Or the fry.
I look at it kind of based on how, no offense, if you're really high, you really don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that for me, it just goes down 2 ways. If I'm high, it's kind of like a free for all. But I have noticed that when I'm sober, and this actually goes for drinking as well, but when you're sober, it's kind of like, you take your time with each thing, eat one thing at a time. I am someone though, that if I go to McDonald's, since you brought it up, Caleb, at McDonald's, if I get like chicken nuggets and fries, I have to have ketchup with my chicken nuggets, or I will get the hiccups.
Huh.
Yeah, I have to have some kind of sauce with it. Otherwise, it'll give me the hiccups.
I'm a guy, if I don't like, if there's something on the plate that I don't particularly care for, I'll eat it first. Like, I'll just get it all out of the way. But I tend to be like Tony, where I try to get a little bit of everything in one fork. And if it's something that's really, really good, like steak, I'll be like, all right, I gotta save a lot of steak for the end so that I'm really satisfied. And as far as the drink, if I really like the food, I'm not gonna drink because I don't want to fill up. But if I don't really care, I'll probably have a soda.
I drink all the time when I'm eating because I get a dry mouth really easily. So I get bored chewing. And so I just need to just wash it all down.
Some things taste really good with the drink, though. Like, that's why I love fast food so much. Is that you can like take a bite of your burger, put some fries in your mouth, and like you take a swig of your drink, and it feels like no matter what your drink is, it'll taste amazing still. So, is this news to you, Tony?
Well, I don't drink soda, so
Well, then
Tony, you need to
your
start.
orange juice.
some lemonade. Oh, this one I don't know. Do you like the Dilly Dilly commercials for Bud Light? I don't know what that is.
Hold on, let me YouTube it. I'll tell you if I like it.
Yeah, I got no idea.
Would it be bad if I said I have no idea as well, which makes this question obsolete?
Well, that's why I'm.
We'll move on. To Howard Starr. I like this question. It got me to think a little bit. If Hulk Hogan hadn't left WWF in 1993 and continued to challenge Yokozuna for the world title, would he had stayed with the company, and who would he have feuded with back then? I know that I'm the oldest one here, so I'm going to have more of a connection to this than anybody else, but for my money, I would think Lex Luger was the narcissist at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And when they lost Hulk Hogan, they changed him over to the whole American Pride type of thing because they wanted another person to be like Hogan. I think Hogan would have feuded with Luger, and Luger would have stayed a heel. And I think that Yoko would have ended up with The Undertaker at WrestleMania instead of the Royal Rumble because they would have had Yokozuna drop the title to Hulk Hogan and like do that kind of a thing. It would have been Hogan and Yokozuna for a little bit, and Yoko would have moved on. Undertaker wouldn't have had his injury. He would have done the WrestleMania match instead. We would have still gotten Razor and Shawn, and Brett and Owen would have not had the title on the line. So I think Luger would have won the Royal Rumble by himself as a heel and fought Hogan at WrestleMania.
So you think Hulk Hogan would have kept the title through WrestleMania 10?
I think that he might have lost it in the summer and picked it back up again or something like that, but he might have just kept it.
I mean, I had forgotten this question was on there, but this is kind of what I was talking about with doing the fantasy stuff. Hogan in 93, if he was staying, I think he would have won at King of the Ring. He would have had the match with Brett at SummerSlam like he was supposed to. We would have never seen the narcissist. I think he would have beaten Brett. They would have done the whole, it's a new generation thing. He might have had like a feud with, I don't know, Razor, who's still a heel, and some guys at Survivor Series. And then Hogan wins the Rumble, and he's trying to do like a whole redemption thing at WrestleMania 10 against Brett. Still comes up short. That's where Hogan turns, and we go for a heel Hogan in 1994 in the WWF.
I
I like that.
I mean, the case is probably quite moot anyway. It's quite a good way to do fantasy booking because there was absolutely no chance this was ever going to happen anyway. But I think Flair was still in WWE at the start of 93.
Correct.
So he didn't quite get to it, but maybe he would have stayed in WWE if you had the opportunity to eventually build to a Hogan feud down the line. Because that was already been like quashed during 92. So maybe the thought of, okay, so Hogan's going to be around and maybe he'll be champion still, so maybe we could keep Flair around till at least about SummerSlam, have him have that dream match that we always wanted to see. Try and
Well,
get a goodbye.
I think. Sorry.
And then move on to Brett eventually. I think those would probably be the two matches that you'd end up seeing. But again, it just falls into a bit of a moot point, really, because Hogan, at least, whether you obviously bought into the ideas of like he was a lot smaller than he used to be, and he was going to be moving on to WCW anyway. It was more along the lines of he was being phased out, and you could tell he was being phased out. So I think by the time 94 or 95 would come around, he wouldn't be in the main event anymore if he'd have stayed at WWF.
Diesel.
Something like that.
Andre Boughton? Is it Boughton? I think it's Boughton. Andre, a couple questions here. Let's see. Got a few questions for the mailbag. First, I'd like to say I've been listening to you guys for what feels like years now. Yeah, it feels like years doing it. It has been years. That's why it makes sense. And I was very happy with how you all answered my questions. First time writing in, pleased with the discussion. Thank you, Andre. What are your thoughts on turning Bayley into an angry heel to be the first opponent for Ronda Rousey?
No.
I don't think Bayley has it in her to be a heel. I think that if they do turn her, it's going to be Sasha with that whole feud.
I think if they were going to turn Bayley, they should have turned her this year after crapping on her all throughout 2017.
I'm assuming Ricky. I'm merging their names together. I think that after Rousey is done with the WrestleMania thing, I think she's going to feud with Mickey. I think that's one of the reasons why she turned heel.
I think
they can't boost her up too much. No. So Mickey works with her. She learns a little bit more in the ring. She loses to Rousey. I think that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think there's not enough time to really establish Bayley as a mean heel. Even if she did prove to be good at it, I don't think there's enough time to build her up to being Rousey's first opponent.
Do you think they keep Asuka undefeated for the whole year, and we get undefeated Asuka, undefeated Ronda at next year's WrestleMania?
Yep.
No, I think they'll be on separate brands still by that point. I think
unless we do the Horseman thing, it's either horsewomen or it's Asuka.
I think they'd probably do Rousey versus Charlotte or someone or another bigger name. I think you can keep Asuka's and Rousey's confrontation until the following year's WrestleMania, so WrestleMania 36.
I think they do Horsewomen at SummerSlam.
It could happen. Doesn't have to be a Mania.
But yeah,
it could
this
happen
is about Bayley.
fucking
Wow, we just
No Mercy. Yeah.
Well,
Bayley being a heel. Does anybody think she actually is going to turn heel?
Yeah. Mainly
Point.
just due to the fact that if you've seen, I've seen projected house show bookings. She's teaming with Elias in upcoming house shows post WrestleMania.
Well, that's only because they were doing the mixed match challenge.
Yeah, I know that could be the reason for it, but it could also indicate that she's turning heel because their matches are against John Cena and.
How do you know John's not turning heel?
Because it's John Cena.
All right, listen, we don't know where we're going with John for WrestleMania. I think John might turn heel.
I like the suggestion somebody said for instead of Hollywood Hogan that he becomes Cinema Cena.
I saw people getting excited for people. People were reporting that about John Cena turning heel back in 2012, as if we didn't know that for the past 5 years, and they were acting like it was new. That was something that we were discussing. The fact that he might have turned heel.
Well, I think the discussion was that they told him, "Hey, you're gonna fight Rock. We're gonna turn you heel," and he goes, "Great, I'll go out." He bought new gear. He did a new song, and they were like, "Yeah, we changed our mind. We need you."
But I feel like we knew that already. I saw people acting like that was new though. That was new news. It's like, nah, I feel like we've known that for a while. It's like, and I feel like we've all known that the only reason why John Cena is not a heel is because of Vince McMahon. And I feel like with Bayley, it might be the same thing. They're gonna be more lenient to turn her heel because she did not succeed as like the babyface character like John Cena has. But to me, if they turn her heel, it'll be weird. It'll be awkward. I don't think it would go well. she would fuck it up somehow. And I think that'd just be solely based on how they book her, because I feel like Booker T. It's just I feel like she would just be a weird person to book as a heel. And I knowing WWE's track record with fucking things up, this is something I could see him fucking up.
And I disagree that she didn't get over. I mean, little girls love her, so she got over as intended.
My bad. I apologize. Not as over now. Obviously she was over in NXT. Obviously she was over last year. I was the biggest Bayley fan last year at WrestleMania. I was super pumped when she won. And for the longest time, I was a person that was like, all of you guys are just fucking haters. Like, I was like, why do you guys hate Bayley? You guys should just hate Finn Balor. I'm glad I was on that bandwagon before everyone else. So fucking happy I was. But yeah, it's something.
Question 2 from Andre. As a black man from south side of Chicago, I've always gravitated to the wrestlers from the hood like New Jack, Harlem Heat, even Crime Time. Who are your favorite black wrestlers of all time, and can the WWE tap into the hood without being racist or funny, kind of like Bad News Brown, just big, black, tough, and pissed off? Good question for we just got out of Black History Month, so I like that a lot, Andre.
That's a great question.
I will toss a couple names out here of some of my favorites that came into my mind when I was originally writing up my answers to this. I think Mark Henry is very, 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 very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock, I know a lot of people are like, who's not black? And it's like, all right, it's up for debate. Booker T, Ron Simmons. I love the New Day. I still am unapologetically a fan of them.
I know
Godfather is great.
I know that Bobby Lashley hasn't had the best WWE career, but he has. If we're just talking about African American athletes in wrestling, he is definitely like someone that should be mentioned, just because he's like a 4-time TNA world champion. I think that alone speaks for itself.
And I think also, if you're talking about like just impressive athletes, Shelton Benjamin has got to be high up there as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's where I was going. Because
Shelton's on my list too.
If you're going to talk about black wrestlers that didn't tap into the stereotypical, maybe slightly racist style gimmicks, 2 wrestlers that come into my mind are Benjamin and Jay Lethal. And I think Jay Lethal is the best all-around black pro wrestler I've ever seen.
I also think Alicia Fox is underrated.
Oh, yeah.
I think not many people watch 205 Live, but Cedric Alexander is great in the ring. MVP was fun,
Oh, yeah,
too.
MVP, definitely. I personally believe that if they didn't do the crazy gimmick with AJ Lee just like a year and a half prior, I think when Alicia Fox was just going around pouring soda on people and popcorn.
I love that.
Yeah, I thought that could have like if they didn't already do the
That was
crazy.
great.
Yeah, it would have worked. I just think they just blew not blow their load, but they just did that too soon after AJ left for it.
Another women's wrestler's Karma as well.
Oh,
Awesome
Karma.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't say that one sooner.
But do you think there's just an inevitable pull towards the, street smart kind of gimmicks, like the Street Profits now?
Yeah, but
that's the thing where like WWE does that, but at the same time, part of it is just because they boost everything up like that. Like when you have like say Jinder Mahal, he could literally come out there and just be a dude, but they have him come out there and do the whole modern day Maharaja and like, I'm going to speak Punjab and fuck you and like that kind of thing. They do that stuff all the time. And if you are French, they're going to make you like eat a baguette. Like
with the French
poodle. And yeah, like they do that kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily right. And in some ways it's not necessarily wrong because it's kind of fun. But if they could get somebody who was good enough in the ring and good enough on the mic that could do like what Andre says here, big, black, tough, and pissed off, like a Shaft type of guy.
Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed was over as fuck. He just happened to not be the right person for the job.
So at Elimination Chamber, were they really making Black Panther references at Titus Young?
Oh my god, that's a good
Titus
one
O'Neil.
though. Titus O'Neil.
Oh,
All
O'Neil,
right.
my bad. My bad. Continue.
Virgin him.
And you're gonna think I'm bullshitting. I will send the picture. Titus O'Neil goes to church with my family.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Titus O'Neil is the most charitable motherfucker in this company, to the point where he got suspended for grabbing the boss's arm just to say, ladies first. Why is this dude not at the forefront of your multi-billion-dollar charitable company?
Probably because he's kind of looks like a miniature Terry Crews.
And he
No,
kinda
that's
sucks-
Apollo
and he-
Crews. Whoa, that's
he kinda
Apollo
sucks
Crews.
in the
That's how I got
ring.
the
Oh,
name.
my bad, Terry.
I'll go more along the lines that Titus O'Neil kind of sucks in the ring.
But does that really matter? Like, if we look at a guy like John, you don't have to be perfect in the ring.
No, but he has to be good.
I will say that if we're gonna make the argument for Titus not being good at wrestling, and that's the reason why he's not pushed enough more, that's solely if you're not gonna be good at wrestling, you have to be an attraction in some way. And whereas with Titus, he's muscular, he's kind of big, and he's a charitable guy. And I remember when they used to do the hua thing a lot back in like 2015 and 16. But I think with him, if he was just gonna go with this gimmick, if not gimmick, but if he's not gonna be a good wrestler, you need to be big. You have to be like jacked. You have to look like someone you don't want to fuck with. Otherwise, no one's gonna care.
If he was as talented in the ring as Apollo Crews is, or if Apollo Crews was as good on the mic as Titus has become, I think we'd have a main event guy.
So do you think they should do a fusion?
If we could get Apollo O'Neil, it would
I was
totally
about
work.
to say that it would work.
Let's see here. The final question from Andre is finally back on my screen. Okay. I'm a big fan of the Schmoes Movie Trivia podcast. Who are your favorite players? He's referring to the movie trivia Schmodown on Collider and Schmoes Know. He says, who are your favorite players? His are the Patriots and Team Action. And another side question is, do we listen to any other wrestling podcasts? We've addressed that one before. As far as the movie trivia Schmodown goes, I think I'm the only one that watches that, right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in on the wrestling podcast thing because I don't know what the Schmoes Down is.
The Schmodown is one of the best things that Collider has done in years. It started from the Schmoes, and Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis are the ones that are controlling that kind of a thing. They kind of incorporate a little bit of WWE into the way that they do movie trivia. Like they have characters, and even though they play themselves, they play advanced versions of themselves. So, for instance, like Mark Ellis is like his side gig is he's a comedian in real life. So he's kind of like a Joker type of character where like he is a little bit like stupid in his entrances and stuff. So if you follow Screen Junkies and stuff, you are familiar with a lot of the same people. Dan Murrell is my favorite. I think that Dan is the best competitor that I've had for movie fights in the past, movie fights now, the Schmodown. There's a reason that dude held every fucking title and had 3 belts on his fucking, to his name. I like John Roca a lot. He's probably my second favorite. Harloff and Ellis, of course. I like Josh McCouga. He's a lot of fun. Bibiani was good. Dagnino is funny as hell. And even though you gotta hate them, you gotta love them too. The Patriots. They're great heels.
I just subscribed to them on YouTube because now I'm interested.
The past couple of matches have been no-name people, but in the next couple of weeks they'll boost things up a little bit more. Go back and check out some other classic episodes like Mark Riley versus Dan Murrell. That's a really good match for the title. And yeah, if you like movie trivia, it's a good thing to do because they incorporate wrestling kind of in that sort of style. They all have entrances. They have storylines where like they started incorporating factions last year. So it's like Tom Dagnino became like a manager instead of an actual competitor in the league. And then it was like people were like turning heel on each other and stuff. It's like, it's pretty fun. Let's go into Peter's questions because we are running long as all hell. And Callum's probably falling asleep.
I will do after these questions.
So, first question from Peter here. Since WWE is alluding to TNA with Rockstar Spud, WWE will start using more TNA. Well, will WWE start using more TNA names and gimmicks? He suggests the idea of Rude doing the whole It Factor, Selfish Generation thing. Yeah, I think that they will. I think we've seen that a lot. Like, they incorporated the Bullet Club to a certain extent from New Japan. And they are referring to him as formerly known as Rockstar Spud and stuff. I think that they realize that TNA is never going to be a threat, and they can bite off of them if they want to, you know?
Well, it's especially prominent now because TNA have essentially given all the rights of former superstars with them to like be able to own their own gimmicks. So they won't be faced with any lawsuits if they were to just take any character from them. I think
EC3, the Broken Hardy thing.
So if it serves their interests, then they will do it, but they'll put their own spin on it, which could make it better, could make it worse, but it's a case of them trying to own the new gimmick. So they won't make it exactly the same, but if they can take good elements from it, and instead of Bobby Roode being the it factor, they make him the wow factor instead or something like that, then they'll do that.
I don't think they're ever gonna change Bobby because he's so attached to the Glorious thing now. But I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing little bits of old AJ matches start popping up in video packages, or EC3 took his gimmick completely. James Storm, I'm still waiting on, and he should come in with everything intact, maybe even including the theme song. And Joe never changed, so
Hey, listen.
Yeah, he's still Joe.
If you're not broken, you're woken. So
hold on, nope, get out, nope. Nope.
That's gonna be something that's kept in the episode.
Yeah. Come back later. No.
Let's move on to another question here in the meantime.
Yeah.
I'm totally not editing that out.
Because you just completely interrupted.
The outtakes.
Good go.
All right, question number 2 from Peter. Why are you laughing?
I don't know if Robert has discovered the mute button in his thing as well, if you want.
Well, you came in so quick, I didn't have time.
Question number 2 from Peter. I heard Elias asked Cena for advice on his gimmick. Elias told Cena he wanted to use WWE Walk with Elias. John loved the idea. What do you think of Walk with Elias? What do you think of Cena loving the idea? He suggested that it's good. I like the slogan. I think it's kind of catchy. It's sort of like the Miz flipping the W over and making an M out of it. It's cool. And
perfectly.
Good for Cena for helping out,
It fits perfectly. It's done so well that he can get the Walk with Elias thing to go with just WWE. It means it's going to be an evergreen catchphrase that you can just keep pulling out and it won't get stale. And it's never hurts to have Cena having a back. So
yeah, it's better than being like Dykstra. So
yeah, cool. I'm gonna go back to what Caleb said earlier about Elias is great, and then the bell rings. I think the Walk with Elias thing is a huge chunk of that. People just like to feel a part of the show, so when they get to go Walk with Elias, they're all into it. But then the bell rings and they don't give a shit.
see, that's what was great about Daniel Bryan. You got to say yes for 35 seconds, and then you got to the ring, and then he got to say yes some more during the match, and you got to cheer a lot.
And you got a fucking awesome match on top of it.
Don't ask Tony that in 2013. He disagreed.
Yeah. Overrated as fuck. I don't know why everybody likes him. That kind of thing. Let's see here. The other wrestling podcast I listen to, we are known as the Swaft Nation. Who are we, Smarks, or what is our fan name? Speaking of Oli, I don't know who Oli is. Randy Orton from Out of Nowhere blocked him on Twitter. Have you ever been blocked by a wrestler on Twitter? Real quick to address the fan name thing, I haven't actually thought about it. So if you guys have any suggestions of some kind of Smark Out Moment fan base name, drop them in the comments. Let me know.
There's Smart Marks.
I thought it was the Smark Marks. They're marks for us,
I thought it just would be the Smarks and the Smarkettes.
The Smart.
the Smarkettes.
No, we'll just call them Smurfs at that point.
And
as far as Twitter goes, I don't tweet all that often, so I don't get any enemies from that. But if they actually listened to what I say and they read my articles and stuff, I'm sure I'd get lots and lots of blocks, especially for people like Nia Jax or
or Stephanie McMahon.
I think she'd be fine with it.
I think. Listen, do you think Nia Jax get a lot of stick, in the promoted area on Twitter? Do you think she gets a lot of stuff from Snickers?
I don't think so. Because I haven't sold a single one of those Nia Jax Snickers T-shirts.
You still haven't?
Yeah.
Didn't you sell a Big E one a while back?
Yeah, and then I got another one of the Big E ones taken down I think it was UPS or something on Redbubble took it down or something. I'm like,
Yeah,
God,
Redbubble
you
takes
don't-
everything down.
Yeah, it's bad.
TeePublic is better, which is what you're using now, but I find that I made more sales on Redbubble selling parody T-shirts like that.
Yeah, anybody else? Did you guys ever get blocked by a wrestler on Twitter?
In a past Twitter life, Goldust blocked me.
I was actually about
that's
to
not
say
surprising.
Goldust blocks everyone. If you ever disagree with Goldust, he just blocks you.
I wasn't sure why until one day I realized, I think I asked him honestly, looking for an honest answer, how did you feel about the Black Rain run in TNA? Did you enjoy doing that? And I didn't know that he had like a strict no Black Rain policy.
Dude, what if Black Rain to Goldust is Isaac Yankem the Kane?
It probably is.
Oh, it is definitely.
Oh, I mean,
Well,
Black Rain
7
is bad.
anymore.
7 was fucking terrible though.
I haven't been blocked to my knowledge by anyone on Twitter, but if you gave me like 5 minutes, I probably could get blocked by Road Dogg. So,
Give me with Punk, it's easy. You just have to tell him he fucking sucks, and he just blocks you.
Just tweet at Punk and just say, "LOL." How's that lawsuit going?
literally, if you give me like 15 minutes, I could get blocked by Punk, Road Dogg, Jimmy Cornette, and Kevin Owens. Probably. All in one tweet.
Like, yeah, add them all in the same tweet and just kind of like have at it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do you think that Earl Hebner or Gail Kim will be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Earl Hebner, absolutely. Gail Kim, not so much.
That's kind of where I go, but not necessarily absolutely. I think Hebner has a better chance than Gail.
Oh, Gail does. I look at it like this: if Gail comes back to WWE at any point and has any kind of run, then yes, I think she'll go in the Hall of Fame. However, and also maybe if WWE purchases TNA and acknowledges if they look at TNA like they do with WCW, with how we see a lot of WCW stars now going in, you see, or making comebacks, then I think you can make the case for Gail Kim, them, and other TNA stars. But to me, it just depends on if she goes to WWE again or not.
Well, she's retired now, so she won't do any more.
No, yeah, she will. Trust me. They all say they're retired, but they come back later.
Hebner's an interesting one because you would think it's kind of a no-brainer, but they've never inducted a referee before, and they don't really have
one worthy.
What about
I would
Hebner's
say he's
brother?
the only one worthy. No. And there's also a lot of, well, as far as we know, unresolved bad blood between his departure from WWE as well. So whether they would want him to go in the Hall of Fame or whether he would want to go in the Hall of Fame after everything that happened, would be a little bit up in the air. Gail Kim, I think, is definitely deserving of a Hall of Fame call due to her work in TNA, basically doing the women's evolution before Stephanie McMahon invented it. But I think the way that she left, the way that she wasn't used very well, the way she would probably talk quite disparagingly about definitely her second WWE run, if not her first as well, means that it would probably take quite a while for her to get into the Hall of Fame if she ever does.
And I just want to say congratulations to her for making the Hall of Fame and TNA. I know it's not the same, but she is a part of a Hall of Fame, if you want to look at it like that. And so is Hebner, so...
In a way, TNA's one is almost more prestigious because one goes in every year.
Yeah, Didn't they have two going in 2015?
The Dudley Boys, but they're one act, you know.
At this point, what Peter points out, you've got 3D, Angle,
and Sting.
No, didn't
Sting.
Well, didn't Jarrett?
Yeah, Jarrett.
Didn't Jarrett and Hebner go in the same year? Didn't they both go in 2015?
Potentially. I mean, I don't follow it too much, unfortunately, at that point.
Yeah, unfortunately, TNA sucks. So
this is a question I want to skip past, kind of, because we've answered it before a little bit. So I want to make this a real quick one. But he asks, "Who do you think is the face of WWE right now?"
John Cena.
No, I'll go Roman Reigns, and I'll make that argument solely because Cena doesn't show up all the time, which is okay. You can make the argument that I know the argument you can make, and you can make it still. But to me, I just feel like, at this point, they want Reigns to be the face, so I'm going to look at him as the face because that's what they want him to be. And I think...
I was going to say, I agree with you in the sense that that's what they want to do, but basically if I go to anybody on the street who may or may not be a wrestling fan says, who's the person you associate with WWE, you probably say John Cena. So that's that's my reason for it.
That's fair. But would you say he would still be the face after he retires? Because I think to me, Cena is the face. If you want to go at it like that, Cena will be the face as long as he has any association with WWE. I think in a lot of ways he has eclipsed Hulk Hogan and like just popularity of just like everyone knowing him. So I just feel like Cena will always be the face of WWE if we look at it that way.
That's a generational thing with Hogan. I'm not sure if he's as big as Hogan was, but I think he's reached more people. So I think he's bigger than Hogan in that sense. I think John is the face right now when it comes to overall PR. But I think night to night in ring, I think Roman Reigns is the face of WWE.
I think you go, if you're talking main roster, Roman Reigns, Cena for a lot of those reasons. I wouldn't count out Triple H, though, for, like, the PR side of things. Like, he's more of a public figure than Vince is now. So, I'd throw his name out in the hat, too.
What's like this? How about this? If you could only trot out one person to do PR in all of WWE, who would it be?
John Cena.
John Cena.
Okay. Then I think Cena would be the correct answer, I suppose.
Yeah. So this is something I'm going to have to go back to. Peter says with his disability, he likes to do records and stuff. He actually wrote down the questions and stuff that we had done with Play the Game, the Hall of Famers stuff that we've done and all that. He's broken down some stuff with the Sexiest Superstar tournament. And he asks if there's anything else kind of on like the statistics side of things or something like that. I don't know, but first off, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That saves me a shit ton of work if you send that kind of stuff my way at some point. I will try to think of some stuff if you like doing that. And do you guys have any ideas of like a good I don't know, records of like, the only thing I can think of, and this isn't something that I think would be useful right now, is who has been on the most episodes of Smack Talk other than me. Like, to break down and go like, all right, Payton's been on X amount, and Braden was on X amount, and Burham was on whatever, and like that kind of thing. Like,
we don't speak his name.
I don't give a shit anymore.
Maybe you could score us. So like, I gave like Robert a 6 for this episode. Must do better or something like that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, if you have any of those kind of things in mind, Peter, like, have at it, man. Statistics they can be kind of fun and stuff. He sent a couple questions in about some different things, and I didn't incorporate them into this because a lot of them were about different placements on the Sexiest Superstars tournament, and I kind of want to do that a little bit closer to when we start doing that. But the one I do want to mention is, I thought that this was funny. I was like, wow, that's really kind of strange. He says that Becky Lynch has been in the 2015, the 2016, and the 2017 Sexiest Superstars tournament. Apparently in all 3 of those, she was in the last match of the tournament and also made it to 5th place. So she's got like some streak going on. That's 3 out of 3. I think I need to, at the very least, when I structure the bracket this year, no matter what, I need to put her down as in the last match just to see if she gets 5th place again. But I will say something ahead of time. I don't know how I'm going to do the Sexiest Superstars tournament this year because we have currently 64 women to pick from. Dude. So we have a full double the amount of a bracket.
You know,
what's the qualifications for this?
You just have to be a woman that's signed with WWE.
A woman in WWE.
60.
So
wow, that's impressive.
There's 64 if you count all of the main roster women that are in the ring, all the ones like Maurice and Maria that aren't. If you count Beth Phoenix for commentary, if you count Brie Bella for Total Divas and Total Bellas, and if you count all the NXT women on the main roster and the live event roster and stuff, 64. So
you could structure
we're gonna have
like
to
a
do
March Madness thing.
We could do like a qualifying round where we eliminate 32 people right off the bat, kind of. I'm assuming some people are going to be taken out just because people don't know them, and I'm actually going to try. I can't promise it. I'm going to try to put pictures of every single person up so that way people like Casey, whatever her name is from American Ninja Warrior, like, she's really cute. Nobody knows her. So nobody would vote for her unless they saw a picture of her and they went like, oh, she's better looking than Dana Brooke or something. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll put a pin on the Superstar stuff like that. But we have 3 more questions to get to, and then we are done. And this is a long ass episode. Can we get any ideas of what you're thinking for the Smark Out Moment Hall of Fame for this year? He throws his suggestions out there. I don't know yet. I have to figure it out. I will take suggestions, though, in the Mega Maniacs if anybody wants to throw anything out, or in the comments below on the YouTube channel if you want to have any suggestions about some stuff. I don't think I'm doing a video of it this year. I might just do it on the website.
I hope I win something.
I don't know what's going on yet. I have a couple ideas of a couple things, and I'll kind of leave it at that. I have to figure it out soon, though, because Hall of Fame's coming up. So the last 2 questions here. One thing, I thought that this was really kind of cool. He says he used a Monopoly board to try to figure out what like a play the game would be. And he asks what the rules would be. He said, like, you know, there's like the chance card could be Smark's Choice, or community chess could be a blind tag, and the railroad is like that kind of thing and stuff. That's pretty awesome. I have no idea how to figure that out, though.
I don't think Monopoly. I don't know if
Monopoly I don't think would work.
Yeah, I don't think Monopoly's the right like medium to try it with. Maybe almost like Wheel of Fortune or something like that could work a little bit more.
I was thinking Trivial Pursuit or something.
Oh yeah, that could actually work.
Marsh Gammon.
Took me a second. I was like, wait a minute, what? Oh yeah, I forgot about Marsh Gammon. Yeah, I don't know, maybe Trouble.
I love a good game of Trouble. Real quick, Casey from American Ninja Warrior, just looked her up. She is very cute.
She is indeed. Thumbs up, amongst other things. And our last question here for the mailbag for February. If Rowdy Roddy Piper was still alive, would he be the one to team with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania?
What, this age?
That's the thing. It depends on if he would be physically able to.
He would have think in her corner, though.
Yeah,
at the very least, he would do that.
Yeah, he'd manage them, I think. Manage the team of Rousey and Angle, Rousey or Rock, and whoever's going to be in that match.
All right, it'd be Rousey, Angle, and Piper, or with Piper, versus Hunter, Stephanie with Vince.
Yep, that's exactly it. Vince would be the opposite end, and they would be the ones arguing with each other, and they would eventually come to blows at some point, but not do all that much because they would be too old to be able to really go like crazy about it. But yeah, that's exactly what I was going to go with.
Honestly, those promos would be fun to watch. Vince and Piper.
That'd be great.
Can I just say something? I am glad that Piper's dead, just so I don't have to see this match. No offense. Listen. As much as I love Piper, what was the last time he wrestled in WWE? Was it 2010 with Jericho?
2009 Jericho, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around that. I think that's.
WrestleMania 25. I think
was that when he did the 3v1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was okay. That wasn't that good though. It's 2018. If he was still alive, I would not want to see him wrestle. I would love to, if he would have went out with her as like a manager, and I think he could have done that with Vince. If you wanted to do like Stephanie versus Ronda, if you just wanted Ronda to go destroy someone in a match, I think that would have been interesting. But I do not want to see Vince and his like old man skin that's like flabby and shit, and he probably has it bunched up behind his neck somewhere.
Hey, Drew, how many times have you been on the cover of Muscle and Fitness?
You know,
none. 66?
Hey, listen, none, but I promise you, I've never done a steroid to get to that point. So, and, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, he has, but I've never had a scandal with steroids. So I'm not the one.
It's not steroids, pal. It's IcoPro, okay? IcoPro.
Oh, my bad. Listen, actually, I apologize. I think he took a bite of the Aggro Crag, and that's how he got that big.
Drew, I think you made some really good points there, but I think you probably could have started off by not wishing that, not being glad that Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I probably just piss off a lot of people. Listen, I will say, it sucks that he's dead, but from a wrestling standpoint, I'm glad he's dead, so we don't have to see him wrestle. That's not. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm glad that Yokozuna's dead. I would not want to see him wrestle in 2018. Would you?
Yokozuna, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. There's your Samoan dynasty.
Except here's the thing, Yokozuna's dead. And I think like if he did one like fall with his butt, I think he breaks his tailbone. And I'm afraid with Roddy Piper, his bones would be so brittle, especially now he's dead.
I don't think that he would be wrestling at this point.
No, he would wrestle.
I don't even know if he would even do more than a punch.
I just wanted to hear Piper tell Vince, you know, screw you for putting Hogan over me. I was always better. And Vince could just go, fuck you, I made you. And Piper punches him in the face while
Listen,
Stephanie taps.
If you took Piper's dead body and make a bunch of bubblegum jokes with it, I'd laugh. So, I don't know. You could do something like that.
I'm here to live life and shoot bubblegum, and oh, wait a minute.
Oh, listen, I'm dead, but I'm still chewing that bubblegum. So, take it to the grave.
I'm sorry.
Hey, that's a good note to end on.
Yeah, we were so close to ending it. I just freak out.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you all for sending in all your questions and stuff. And remember, if you did not get a chance to ask a question, or if your question didn't get answered or something like that, then there's always next month. March is going to be, well, it's already here. Yeah. So at some point in this month, we will be doing the March mailbag. It's obviously going to be before WrestleMania, so it's sometime in the next 2-3 weeks or so. And go ahead and send them in as soon as you get a chance to, and I'll backlog whatever I need to do, and we'll take care of it when we take care of it. But the next thing that we're going to be doing next week, of course, Hot Tags comes up first. And then, Fastlane is popping up. So we really got to start digging into that one match on the card. And mailbag is... it looks like it's like I've got this possibly for March 28th is when we'll do the mailbag. But maybe the week beforehand. I'm not too sure. We'll see. We've got fantasy booking, WrestleMania 34 coming up. I'll be doing that. I already actually planned out my card and made up the graphics. So I will do that when I do that. Wrestling with the Past Hall of Fame talk is coming up at some point too. So if you want to be aware of these kind of things, the best thing for you to do is hit that subscribe button on a YouTube channel and ring the bell for notifications. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Smark Out Moment. And check the smarkoutmoment.com page itself for anything else like that. But I'm going to pass this around to everybody else here to get out their plugs. Callum, you're up first.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. And I'll just plug all the weekly articles on Smark Out Moment because they're there every week. So you should read them.
And we work hard on them.
Power ranking isn't.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Robert, any stuff you want to talk about?
Follow everywhere at Dude Felice. Go to timekillerapparel.com, buy a shirt. I need the money. And that's it. Drew?
Oh, it's my turn now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at DrewSifWhite. You can go there on Instagram and a few other websites as well. You can find me there. And yeah, that's about it.
Sweet. So thank you for listening to this, everybody. Make sure to drop your comments below and tell us your thoughts on some of these questions and all that. And anything else you want to chime in on. We will see you next time. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we are being counted out.